blending a tradition rich in memory with innovation and the latest in television technology. Great moments come alive on NBC Sports. Today on NBC, an all-star lineup as the Blue Jays, led by superstar slugger George Bell, battle the Yankees and Don Mattingly. While some of you will see Tigers' most valuable player candidate Alan Trammell taking on the surprising Milwaukee Brewers. Still others will see the National League leading Western Division Giants host the Cincinnati Reds. But first, NBC Sports presents Major League Baseball, an inside look brought to you by...
They went 15-0, would still not win it if the Giants just went 8-7. With 15 left, Cincinnati must sweep this weekend at San Francisco. The Reds and the Giants, next on NBC Sports.
National Broadcasting Company, now in its 7th decade of bringing you baseball's memories. Baseball's milestones. Baseball's majesty. And baseball's magical moments. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week.
Today from Candlestick Park, it's the Cincinnati Reds versus the San Francisco Giants. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. By Pontiac, America's road car company. Pontiac, we build excitement. By Head & Shoulders Shampoo. Now your good grooming is Head & Shoulders above the rest. And by Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. It is a gorgeous Saturday afternoon at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Pope and 70,000 folks were here yesterday, but the field is ready for baseball this afternoon. And good afternoon, Bob Carpenter with Joe Morgan, a gentleman who's been through many of these races in his career down the stretch in September into October. And Joe, right now, the Reds have a tough job ahead, but the Giants are such a confident bunch.
Well, Bob, success breeds confidence. And since the All-Star break, the Giants have been very successful. So their confidence is very high. In fact, they can tell you who's going to start the first game of the playoffs and the World Series.
Roger Craig has already announced his pitching plans. No problem there as far as he's concerned. It is Mike Lacoste for the Giants on the mound today. Tom Browning for the Reds. The San Francisco starting pitching lately has been so good.
Well, I think the key starter has been Mike Lacoste. He started a key 4-game series against the Reds the last time they were in town, and he won. He beat the Astros the first time in their series that was very key to the Giants. But now they've added Rick Russell and Dave Dravecki. It's one of the finest staffs in the major leagues now.
They have made moves to try to win the Western Division this year. Earlier today, Joe Morgan had a chance to talk to the manager of the Giants, Roger Craig.
Roger, you guys' magic number now is 8. How does it feel?
It's a great feeling, Joe. I tell you, we've worked hard here since Al Rosen and I took over in '85, late in the season. It's been like a 2-year anniversary, but he's made some great trades. But, to come in now and play Cincinnati with 15 games to go and an 8-game lead is very, very gratifying.
In late August, you guys came off a road trip in Houston. You were 2-7 on the road trip. You guys were 5 games behind the Reds. The Reds came in. You guys swept them. I think that was the turning point of the season.
I definitely think so. You're exactly right. In fact, the first game of that, we were 5 games back, and Mike Lacoste, who's pitching today, pitched that game, and I thought that was the biggest game of the year when he beat Cincinnati 3-1.
You've done it also with a lot of injuries. Jeffrey Leonard has been out. Will Clark has been out. Candy Maldonado. You've really made a lot of adjustments. How have you been able to keep these guys on top like that?
Well, we've had a good bench, Joe. We've had Mike Aldredis come off the bench. Chris Spires just done a fantastic job. He might be the MVP of this club. But everybody just kind of pitched in. Every day we got a different hero, and it's just unbelievable. And you've been on championship ball clubs, and you've got to have guys that come off the bench and pitchers that come out of the bullpen and do the job. And it just seems like we've got a lot of heroes here.
What does Rick Russell, Don Robinson, and Dave Dravecki mean for you going into the playoffs?
Well, that makes me a lot smarter. But, you know, they've done an outstanding. Rick Russell right now, I think, is probably the best starting pitcher in baseball. And don't take anything away from Dave Dravecki. And Ron Robinson's a quality stopper. He loves the ball. He's got a lot of guts. And we've got a lot of things going for us now. My bullpen has a lot of depth. My starting pitchers have been pitching extremely well. We're getting clutch hitting, and we're just doing everything right that it takes to win.
Let's talk about Roger Craig for a moment. You were a pitcher. Pitchers usually are not offensive-minded. You do a lot of things. You hit and run. You squeeze. Where does that philosophy come from?
I don't know, Joe. I've been in a lot of great managers and great coaches, and I've learned a lot from all of them. I just think every manager has his own style, and I guess that's my style. Like my coaches said, you manage with reckless abandon. You're crazy.
Thank you, Roger, and good luck.
Thank you, Joe.
Roger Craig's Giants have been outstanding at home lately. They'll face the Reds. We'll see the Cincinnati starting lineup in a moment. Faces Cal Daniels leading off. Jeff Treadway at second. Eric Davis in center. Dave Parker's in right, and Buddy Bell's at third. Nick Osaski at first. Terry McGriff catching today. The shortstop is Barry Larkin, and the pitcher Tom Browning for the Reds.
Defensively for the Giants, in left field is Joel Youngblood. Chili Davis is in center. Candy Maldonado is in right. Bob Melvin will do the catching. Lacoste is on the mound. Will Clark is the first baseman. Robbie Thompson is the second baseman. Jose Uribe is the shortstop. And Kevin Mitchell is the third baseman.
And Mike Lacoste with a record of 12-10 on the year. The ERA of 3.69. It's his 25th start, his 37th appearance overall.
And one of the things we mentioned earlier in the show, Bob, is that he pitched the key game of the season as far as I'm concerned for the Giants. They were 5 games behind the last times the Reds were in town. The Reds were on a roll. Mike Lacoste shut them down, and the Giants have gone on from that point on.
Originally a Red, he was the Reds' #3 pick in the June '74 draft. Daniels flying one to center field. Back to the track goes Davis, long way away, and this one leaves the ballpark, and Cal Daniels has his 8th leadoff home run of the season. That's number 24. Lacoste has given up his 16th, and this is a dangerous leadoff hitter in many different ways.
One of the things that Cal Daniels does is lead off the ball game with home runs, but he's hit most of his home runs to left center and left field. That one was straightaway center field.
Cal Daniels now, of 24 home runs, has hit 2 to dead center and 11 to left field. Outstanding power to all parts of the park. Let's check the pitch.
Well, it's a high fastball right in the middle of the plate, and Daniels drives it straightaway center field. Chili Davis at first thought he had a chance, and then he realizes it's gone.
The next hitter is Jeff Treadway, the second baseman. Early lead for the Reds. Their 180th home run of the year. They rank #3 behind the Giants and the Cubs in National League home runs. Treadway's a young hitter that Pete Rose likes a lot. He's never hit less than 300 at any level of play. He's a very good #2 hitter who can move the ball around the park. The ball and a strike is the count from Lacoste. And it's fouled past Tony Perez on the first base side.
Treadway is a guy that's come along very quickly in the Reds farm system. He was not one of their high draft choices. He was not one of the guys that they anticipated getting to the major leagues very quickly. He was behind Steelwell and Larkin and guys like that. And every place he's gone, he's hit 300. So now he's back in the big leagues very quickly.
Up with the Reds since the 1st of September. In his first 39 at-bats, he only struck out 3 times. So he obviously is making very good contact, and as we said, the manager likes the way he can go to all fields. He thinks this guy is going to be an outstanding hitter for quite a while. Playing in his 11th ball game with Cincinnati.
I was teasing him before the ball game about his number, 58. I said, you have to get one of those numbers off if you're going to play second base. But truthfully, he can't get to 5 because that was Bench's number, and I've used number 8 when I was there, and someone else has it now. So he's stuck with it. 58 for the remainder of the season.
Fastball tailing away, and Treadway took it back over the screen to the left. Let's talk a little bit about the San Francisco defense, Joe, behind Mike Lacoste. They have been outstanding this year, especially up the middle, where Robbie Thompson and Jose Uribe have been a very good double play combination.
Well, I think Jose Uribe is probably the most underrated player in this league now. He's a fine shortstop. He just does everything so effortlessly. And he looks like a guy that knows where to play every hitter. I mean, he never seems to be out of position. And he just has great hands. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but he uses his quickness to get rid of the ball. He's just a great shortstop.
And on a 3-2 delivery, Redway walks as Lacoste missed down and in.
But I think that's one of the reasons that the Giants' earned run average is the lowest in the major leagues, is because they do have very fine defensive players behind their pitchers. They make a lot of great plays. And first of all, they make the routine play, which is what you want.
The man at the top of your screen, Robbie Thompson, told me earlier that one of the reasons he thinks the defense has been so good is because the pitching has been so good. It makes it better defensively when the guys are around the plate all the time.
And they all work very quickly.
Eric Davis, first pitch swinging, pops one up. Over to get it, Melvin with help from Clark. Across the on-deck circle and then right in front of the dugout. There is a lot of room in foul territory here at Candlestick Park. Mike Lacoste and Bob Melvin use that to their advantage for the first out.
At the beginning of the season, first half of the season, as we see Bob Melvin make the play again, Eric Davis really destroyed the Giants by himself in the ball games the Reds played against the Giants. After the All-Star break, the Giants have contained him pretty well, and that's the reason that they've been so successful against the Reds.
Dave Parker with a huge ball game earlier this week at Atlanta with 8 RBIs. In the second half of the season, he also has 2 games of 6 RBIs each. A season total of 93 to go along with those 24 home runs. He's number 10 in the league in RBIs.
And I think that stat 93 is a little deceiving in that you mentioned 3 ball games. That's 20 RBIs, and I believe he's had something like 37 in the second half. So he hasn't been as consistent. He hasn't had the normal Dave Parker second half that he normally has. And I think Dave Parker, we've seen a lot of accolades going to Eric Davis, but I think Dave Parker is really the rock of the Cincinnati Reds. He's the guy that you put in the middle of the lineup and everyone else works around him. And he has floundered a little bit the second half, and I think that's one of the reasons the Reds have gone downhill.
He's battling a knee injury on his left knee that has kept him from planting that left foot. As the throw checks Treadway at first, Parker has acknowledged that he's been hitting the ball hard, but a lot on the ground because lately he's been hitting off of his front foot.
Right, he's had knee problems, and that is the reason that he's not done as well the second half this year as he normally does.
0-1 the count. Down and away, and the count is even. They played Parker, surprisingly, you might think, not to pull in the outfield, but around toward left center.
Dave has never been a pull hitter, per se. Even when he won batting titles in 78 and 79, he really hit the ball back to the middle, hit a lot of balls to left center field, because he's used a heavy bat all his career.
Low and away again, 2 balls and a strike. Mike Lacoste does not have an outstanding strikeout-to-walk ratio. Came in with 75 Ks and 58 walks. He has walked a hitter and given up a home run here in a shaky first inning.
Mike Lacoste has a lot of shaky first innings. That's part of his problem. He gets behind early. If he can get off to a good start, he usually pitches a great ball game, not just a good one. But he does have problems at the beginning of the ball game. He's a little up in the strike zone, and when you're a sinker ball pitcher and you get the ball up, things like Cal Daniels did to you will happen more frequently in the ball game.
1 on, 1 out. Count is 2-1. And he just missed outside. Parker offered at the pitch and then gave up on it as it was tailing outside. And now on 3-1, with a pretty good hitter on deck, Mr. Parker can sort of look for something in a certain location that he might be hacking on.
Dave Parker is more aggressive than a lot of hitters, and I don't think he's going to really look for any pitch in any zone. He just wants a pitch that he can swing at.
Well, that one was out of his zone. He took it as it tailed down and away, and Lacoste has walked his second hitter. The appeal went to Jerry Davis at third. Doug Harvey, the home plate umpire today, has watched Lacoste walk a couple of hitters.
Well, on the last pitch, we'll let you decide whether he swung at it or not. I actually think he did. We'll get another look at it at a better angle here. And there's no doubt in my mind he swung.
The bat is definitely through the hitting zone.
Yeah.
Here's Buddy Bell hitting .283. Here's the defense, 2 on, 1 out. Reds have 1 run, trying to get more. Up the middle, pitcher catches it, easy double play as Clark sneaks in behind Parker. It'll go 1-3, and the most welcome defensive play for the Giants. A home run by Daniels. The Reds have drawn first blood. They lead it 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first. Browning, the left-hander, faces Robbie Thompson, Kevin Mitchell, Joel Youngblood, and Candy Maldonado, Chili Davis, Will Clark, Bob Melvin, Jose Uribe, and Michael Lacoste.
Second baseman, Robbie Thompson.
Browning, with a record of 7-12, will face the leadoff man, Robbie Thompson, who's hitting .262. Browning with a fastball low and away.
Robbie Thompson's a guy that Roger Craig has used in a lot of different situations. He's hit first, second, seventh, eighth. He's hit a lot of different directions, and he's been called upon to squeeze on several occasions, and he's done a good job.
Browning, meanwhile, an interesting story. Had some real problems the first 4 months of the season because of elbow problems that he really didn't tell anybody about. But lately, he's been much better.
I was talking to Scott Breeding, who is the pitching coach for the Reds, and that's exactly what he told me. The problem he had was his velocity was still there, even though he had the slow arm, but he could not move the ball around. He wasn't able to throw quality strikes. He couldn't get the ball inside or outside.
On 2-1, a chopper to third. Buddy Bell with the backhand and a quick release and an outstanding play. Bell knew he had to hurry with a good runner going down the line, and he popped up in a hurry for a typical Buddy Bell play at third base.
Buddy Bell has won 6 Gold Gloves in his career, and you see why right here. He's playing in tight because Robbie Thompson will bunt. He gets up, throws quickly to first base, and makes a great play because Robbie Thompson runs very well.
Kevin Mitchell, tough to get out of the lineup lately. It took a high fever the other night when he was really feeling bad to get him out of there. He's battled a variety of injuries this year, hitting at .282.
I think that's one of the things the Giants really like about him is the fact that he wants to play. He wants to play every day. He's had a variety of injuries, as you mentioned, a sore thumb, you know, some leg injuries. He's just had a lot of problems, but he wants to play every day. And Roger Craig says he has to fight him sometimes to keep him out of the lineup.
Fastball missing, up and away. It's a ball and a strike.
When the Giants traded for him, they thought he was just the second guy in the deal. They wanted Dave Dravecky. But he's played much better than the Giants ever anticipated, and he's only going to get better.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Mitchell with the Giants hitting at .315 with 14 of his 21 home runs and 36 of his 62 RBIs. Pretty good location there on the outside corner, and he is gone. Browning, Fanning, his 97 hitter of the year. He came in with 96 strikeouts and 52 walks, and there wasn't a whole lot that Kevin Mitchell could do about that one. 2 down.
The defense for Cincinnati has Daniels, Davis, and Parker in the outfield. Bell, Larkin, Treadway, Asaski. Terry McGriff is the catcher, and Tom Browning is on the mound.
Joel Youngblood is in left field today, hitting at .244. He's appeared in 68 ball games coming into this one. He can play the outfield. He's played some at third base. Pretty good guy to have around off the bench and getting a starting shot today, and hits one well to left center. Back to the track. Near it goes Daniels. He can't reach it, and it'll be a couple for Youngblood with 2 outs. They weren't playing him that deep, but he took one long to the track about 355 feet away.
Cal Daniels was playing in shallow in left field, and that's surprising in that Joel Youngblood does have a lot of power, but I think also chasing the ball, Cal Daniels showed why he was out for quite a while. He had knee surgery, and he doesn't run quite as well as he did early in the season.
That's the tying run aboard with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Cal Daniels' leadoff homer gave the Reds a 1-0 lead. Now Candy Maldonado, after his 75th RBI of the year, will try to tie things up. An even 300 for Maldonado. The Giants are averaging 23,000 fans per home game. They've more than doubled that up here this afternoon. There are a lot of folks watching their Giants take on the Reds. Candlestick holds 58,000, and there aren't many empty.
It's been an up and down season, attendance-wise, for the Giants. They've drawn a lot of people, but last Monday night, coming off a great road trip, they did not draw very well. It was great to see this many people out here watching the pennant race today.
Up and into Maldonado. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, since this guy came off the disabled list in the first week of August, the Giants have been unbeatable. They've been playing 700 baseball with this guy around. And it popped up right side. Looking up into the sunny sky is Nick Osaski. It is a foul ball, and the inning is over. So a 2-out double by Youngblood wasted. And we'll move on to the second inning here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Reds on top by 1 early. Cincinnati takes a breaking ball up high from Michael Lacoste, who scuffled some in that first inning, but with the line drive double play that he engineered, got out of the inning. This time a fastball into right center. Here comes Maldonado in front of him. He knocks it down. Osaski will go for 2. They got him.
A nice throw by Candy Maldonado from right field. He was playing awfully deep in right field because that was kind of a fly ball out there. And Osaski tried to stretch it. And Maldonado makes a good throw. We'll see Maldonado here knock the ball down there, but he gets on it quickly, and he makes a very strong and accurate throw to second base. And Osaski is out by about 2 steps.
9-6 on the assist from the outfield. First pitch swinging is Terry McGriff, the catcher. Batting in the number 7 slot.
Interesting side note to the Pope's visit yesterday, Bob. As he was going out, leaving the stadium, he was blessing a lot of people. And one of the little kids had a Giants hat on, and he tapped the hat. So the Giants think they're blessed. They think they're going all the way to the World Series.
And here the Reds have been following the Pope, first to L.A. and now here to San Francisco. They split a doubleheader down at Dodger Stadium on Thursday night, won the first one in 10, but could not take the nightcap. And they really needed to sweep that and then sweep here.
Well, I think the Reds are not so concerned with sweeping anymore. They're just trying to keep their heads above water, I believe, and do not end the season on a real sour note.
Terry McGriff played the second game of that doubleheader the other night. On 1-2, a bouncer in the dirt, low and away, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're tracking pennant races for you on this Saturday afternoon. Minnesota continuing to play well at home. They beat Cleveland 3-1. Detroit also at home, and the Yankees at home. Minnesota started the day 3.5 ahead of Oakland. Detroit and Toronto started the day a half game apart, with the Tigers just ahead. To the right side for Robbie Thompson. This is a good defensive infield in San Francisco.
And they lead the league in double play, so they can also make the plays and make the double play when they need it.
Robbie Thompson and Jose Uribe have an interesting relationship. Of course, all double play combinations, which you well know, Joe, they work hard together. But these guys are very complimentary of each other, verbally to each other. They are always trying to build each other up to boost that confidence factor you were talking about earlier.
One of the things you want in a double play combination is that their reflexes be similar. You don't want one guy quicker than the other guy. What happens is these guys are perfectly matched. Neither one of them have great quickness, but they're perfectly matched and they do the job well, and they're both fundamentally sound. I think that's the key. They do things proper. There's not much hot dog in either one of them.
And it's 2-0 to another pretty good shortstop. This guy for Cincinnati, Barry Larkin, hitting at .237. Larkin's hit better since the All-Star break, and defensively has been pretty solid for the Reds lately. Michael Lacoste in the outside corner at the letters. It's 2 balls and a strike.
I think he's done better since the All-Star break because he had lost his job to Kurt Stillwell, and then Stillwell moved over to second base when Ronnie Oster was hurt, and it gave Larkin a chance to play again, and I think he's taken good advantage of it.
Breaking ball, and he couldn't catch up with that, and it's 2-2. That might be the best breaking ball we've seen from Michael Lacoste so far.
He has a good curveball, but it's a little erratic at times. When he has a good one and throwing it in the strike zone, he's very, very tough to hit. But he doesn't throw it for strikes all the time, and that's been his problem with the curveball.
On 2-2, a fastball away, and Larkin just got a piece of it to stay alive.
One of the things you still see from Mike Lacoste, he is a sinker ball pitcher, and that ball was above the belt. You have to get the ball down if you're a sinker ball pitcher.
Bases empty, 2 outs in the top of the second. Lacoste and the Giants trailing by 1. Cal Daniels took him deep, leading off the ball game. Tried the fastball inside and just missed with it, and the count goes full 3-2. Lacoste would really like to get this guy and have his counterpart Tom Browning leading off the 3rd inning. The pitcher, of course, is on deck. This is the number 8 man with 2 outs, bases empty. Bob Melvin just couldn't hold on, and they'll do it all over again. Melvin, a pretty good defensive catcher. Well, the Giants have some very impressive statistics this year against base stealers, and Bob Melvin's arm is one of the reasons for that.
There you see why you do not want to be a catcher. Foul tip.
3-2 again. Over the glove of Will Clark into the corner. It'll be at least a couple for Larkin. Digging it out over there is Maldonado. A big turn at second, but he'll hold with a 2-out double. Pretty good job of hitting on 3-2. Larkin taking the ball the other way and just rifling it over the glove of Will Clark.
And as you mentioned, he's been swinging the bat well. And when you do that, you get a lot of confidence and you hit the ball the other way a lot, especially if you're a small guy, a guy that doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He's moving the ball around better, using all the field. That's what Pete was saying before the game. So that's typical of what he's been doing since the second half of the season started.
Pitcher trying to extend his lead. Browning, a 122 hitter. He has 4 RBIs, 5 for 41 on the year. Lacoste with a sinker. Maybe the split-fingered pitch that was on the outside corner. You saw the late movement on that delivery.
When you think of an everyday player being a good hitter, you think of a 300 batting average. When you think of a starting pitcher, you have to think in terms of 200. If a starting pitcher can hit 200, that means he's a good hitter.
He'll have to be even better now because he's in the hole 0-2. I wonder what pitchers' batting averages are when they're behind in the count, 0-2. Runner at second with 2 outs in the top of the second. Reds lead 1-0. Down the line, twisting toward foul territory, unreachable by Youngblood, who bounces into the wall. Falling foul. But there's not a whole lot of room there. The outfield, the foul stands jut out toward the outfield in a hurry, and you run out of room very quickly, Joe Morgan, when you cross that line.
And he seems to have a problem with his right arm or his right wrist because he jams it as he hits this wall right here. You'll see the front of his body, and there his left hand. He tried to break his fall with it, and he jams it against this concrete wall. There is a padding there, as you can see, but the wall doesn't move.
Giants have had a few injuries this year, and it appears that Youngblood is done for the day. Some pretty key players on this team have been on the DL, including their shortstop, Uribe, who's been a 3-time visitor to the DL.
For the same reason. He had a pulled hamstring, and every time he thought it was well, he would come back and play, and he would injure it again. And it looks like Joel Youngblood's right wrist is the problem here. That's what he's holding as he walks off.
And you saw Dave Henderson walk by in front of the camera. He will go for the outfield. Looks like they'll move Chili Davis over to left field and put Henderson in center.
Right, he was going to play center field. Davey Henderson has been with the Giants since September 1st. He came over from the Boston Red Sox. He hasn't played an awful lot since he's been here. Because all the other outfielders have been doing so well, he has not had an opportunity to play very much. We'll get another look here, and we'll also watch his right hand. There you see, puts it up, and he takes the full force against his right wrist as he goes into the wall. And I don't think there's any doubt that's how he hurt it. His wrist is probably going to cause him a lot of problems for a long period of time. As a hitter, you cannot have sore hands. That's one of the problems Jeffrey Leonard has had most of the season. He was injured last year. He had an operation, but he came back strong, but the wear and tear started his wrist to bother him again.
It's still 0-2 to the pitcher with a runner at second, Barry Larkin, who doubled with one out, rather with 2 outs. There have been 2 hits in the inning, but Osaski was gunned out trying to stretch a single into a double. This one missing away from Lacoste, a ball and 2 strikes.
For a lot of people who do not understand the difference between a split-fingered fastball and a regular fastball, the split-fingered fastball is what a lot of people used to call a forkball. Only you throw it a lot harder, and the ball really goes down. It makes it a lot tougher to hit because you can't wait and see if it's, there it is right there, you can't wait to see if it's going to break.
And Browning took that one off the face after it hit the ground. It came right up underneath his bill of his helmet and got him right in the face, and they are out of the dugout quickly to help him. This is turning in to a very tough second inning with the pitcher at the plate.
You see, he goes after this sinker, and he hits the top of the ball, and then he hits the plate. And the plate shoots it straight up into his face, and it looked like it hit him in the nose. His nose is bleeding. And he's holding his nose.
With help from trainer Larry Starr, Browning is obviously hurting. A concerned manager, Willie DeMars, the third base coach.
You see that quite often with a sinker ball pitcher, not a guy getting hit in the face, but the ball bouncing off a home plate and hitting the batter. Normally you do not see a guy hit in the face, but in the replay we saw that Browning kept his head there.
Well, he was leaning way out over the plate to reach that low pitch. And with that ball coming hard off the hard plate, just no time at all to react.
And Tony Perez, the first base coach. Davey Concepcion, Pete Rose. Pitches and get loose again.
First thing Browning is thinking is, I hope this guy doesn't throw another one of those sinkers. Give me something up that I can hit in the air, right?
I think Tom Browning's thinking, now let me strike out and go for him here on.
So back to the hill. Lacoste on a sunny afternoon when staying loose will be no problem for him. Several minutes ago, here's what happened that caused the long delay. He was behind the count 0-2, and then on 1-2. This is what happened.
Mike Lacoste throws a sinker. You see the ball going straight down almost. And Tom Browning hits the top of the ball. It hits the plate and bounces straight up into his face. This is a different angle. There you get a better view of it. You see the ball bounce right up into his face.
But he's still around. And the count is still a ball and 2 strikes. At the top of your screen stands Barry Larkin, who doubled down the right field line. Osaski started the inning with a bloop single to right field. When the ball got just a little bit away from Maldonado, he tried to continue on to second. Candy gunned him out. McGriff grounded out to the right side with Larkin at second. 1-2 the count to Tom Browning. Reds on top. 1-0 on the homer by Daniels. And now it's 2-2. Browning, a 122 hitter with 4 RBIs on the year. is over, at least the top of the second, as Browning fans. A double with 2 outs. The Reds have amassed 3 hits so far. They leave 1, and after an inning and a half, Cincinnati leads it 1-0. Browning still in the ball game. He stayed in to hit. Now he's to the mound in the second inning, leading 1-0. He struck out 1 and given a hit. And as the Giants bat in the second, it'll be Chili Davis followed by Will Clark and Bob Melvin. Browning delivering 1 at the letters for strike 1. Chili hitting at .240. He's now in left field. Started the game in center. Moved over when Youngblood was hurt. From the right side, Joe. Chili is hitting .242.
And as you mentioned about him being a hero earlier this week, he became only the second player in Major League history to hit home runs from both sides, left and right, in the same ball game. And he's done it twice this year, and he's done it 3 times in his career.
He has 20 on the year. Behind in the count 0-2. He skies 1 to short right field. Easy for Dave Parker.
It wasn't quite as easy as normal. I think the high sky in the sun has a little effect on Dave because he usually one-hands it and snatches it.
Yeah, the sun this afternoon is coming from right behind home plate at its present position at 2:11 in the afternoon. Not a cloud in the sky above Candlestick Park. So it is rather blue up there, but not when you're looking into the sun. With 1 out, the hitter will be sweet swinging Will Clark.
That's a good description.
Yes, he has a nice stroke, doesn't he? And he doesn't have a whole lot of problems, it seems, whether they're pitching left-handed or right-handed when he is right, hitting at .304.
Last year he hit very well against left-handers, around .350.
Down the line, but foul.
The one thing that I'm impressed with about Will Clark is his swing. It stays the same almost every time at bat, and that's what you want, consistency. I mean, I've seen him hit home runs, and I've seen him hit pop-ups, and I've seen him hit singles, and it all looks like the same swing.
Clark came into the ballgame today tied with Eric Davis for the 8th best batting average in the National League. Long way behind Mr. Gwynn of San Diego, though, who's up there at .370. And how about his teammate, Benito Santiago, extending that hitting streak last night? What an outstanding career that young man has ahead of him.
I think he's going to be the National League Rookie of the Year. He certainly deserves it.
Clark fouling 1, and it's 2-2. Darrell Evans got his 30th last night. He's provided some outstanding power for the Tigers this year. The ball club's hit some home runs, and that's a pretty good breaking ball from Tom Browning.
When you speak of Darrell Evans, he's hit 30 home runs at the over the age of 40. Ted Williams had the record before, which was 29. Darrell was tied with him. So Darrell holds it by himself now. He's got a record hitting 30 home runs after the age of 40.
And more importantly to the Tigers, they opened up a game-and-a-half lead over the Blue Jays today by winning while Toronto was losing. We'll update the standings for you. On the inside corner to Bob Melvin. Hitting at .192. He's played in 76 ball games. This guy's forte is defense. He has really thrown out some runners. He's thrown out Tim Raines and Vince Coleman twice each this year trying to steal. Something like 42% efficiency against would-be base stealers.
You mentioned the fact that the Giants have done very well against base stealers, and they do it with different styles. Bob Melvin has a very strong arm, and he's fundamentally sound. Bob Brenly gets rid of the ball very quickly, and he doesn't have as much on his throws as Bob Melvin, but he gets to second base just as quickly.
Fastball up and away, and it's 2-2.
In fact, Vince Coleman said he's the toughest guy in the league for him to steal against, meaning Bob Brenly.
Bob Melvin says the same thing that a lot of players do who are having trouble getting enough playing time, and that's trying to keep the offensive numbers up when you're not playing every day. Hitters will tell you that they like to make adjustments from game to game, really from at bat to at bat, sometimes from swing to swing. When you don't play all the time, it's hard to make those adjustments. Not a bad job there as he went down and got one into left center field, and the Giants had their second hit.
Bob Melvin is another example of Roger Craig using guys to the best of their abilities. Bob Melvin started off the season, he was actually the starting catcher. He hit a lot of home runs early. About 7 of his 9 came early, and Roger Craig used him. And then when he slowed down a little bit, he gave Bob Brinley a chance, and Bob Brinley's picked up the slack.
And here's Jose Uribe, the shortstop, hitting at .266. Like Chili Davis, a switch hitter, .244 from the right side. Giants had a 2-out double by Youngblood in the first inning, and now a 2-out single by Melvin in the second. Browning missing down and away.
Browning does not seem to have suffered any effects from being hit with the foul ball. There's Peter Rose.
Pete was a consistent ball player. His club has not been that way in the second half. And now a couple of 2-out hits. Uribe hitting in that number 8 hole. Reaching out and pulling one. It hits her even at 3, and the Giants have something going with 2 outs and the pitcher due up.
Batting ninth, number 29, Giants pitcher, Mike Lacoste.
Mike Lacoste has 6 RBIs. Yeah, let's update that. That is 3 RBIs on the year. With a batting mark of .064. He's 3 for 47. And the fly ball into short left center. Coming quickly is Cal Daniels, and on one pitch, Browning gets out of this inning. So a couple of hits and 2 men left. The Giants have left 3 and trail 1-0. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. San Francisco thinks the Reds are dead in the National League Western Division. And in fact, upstairs, they've already reserved a seat for Pete to watch the Giants play sometime in October.
All of a sudden, the Giants fans have developed a great sense of humor. Earlier this week, Mike Scott was here from the Astros, and they all brought sandpaper out. And when he went to the mound in the first inning, they all rubbed the sandpaper together. So they developed quite a sense of humor. I guess it goes that way when you're in first place.
Ballpark is a fun place to be when your team has an 8-game lead and 15 to play, including today. The Astros, Scott's team, by the way, are 10 back after a 2-1 loss to the Padres last night. Top of the third, top of the order for the Reds. Cal Daniels homered his first time up. Just a shade toward left center, but hitting the ball pretty much straight away. And a breaking ball from Lacoste missing for ball 1. It was Cal's 24th home run of the year, and that's why Henderson and company play him around that way. He's hit half of his home runs to center field or the other way this year. RBI total up to 60.
Interesting thing, a year and a half ago, Dave Parker and I were talking about Eric Davis and how great he was going to be, but he said, I tell you what, Cal Daniels is going to be a better hitter. He's not going to be as good a player because he doesn't have all the other skills that Eric Davis has. But he said, this guy is going to be a great hitter. And I believe him.
He was looking to the left side on that swing and took it upstairs. Foul, 2-1.
When you look at the Reds lineup, they have about 4 of their #1 draft choices with the ball club now, which means that they've done a great job in drafting. Cal Daniels was their #1 choice in '82. Tracy Jones was #1 '83. Barry Larkin in '85, and Kurt Stillwell was also a #1 in their draft in '83. So they've done a good job with their draft.
3-1 is the count. And out of play. This time a little further out to the left. Some folks around the Cincinnati ball club feel that you might be looking at a potential batting champion someday in this young man who has power, hits the ball obviously to all fields, has the speed to squeeze out a few infield hits here and there.
And he handles left-handed pitching pretty well. So I agree that he will have a chance at becoming a batting champion before his career is over.
Here's the 3-2. And he strokes it upstairs to the left side. Cal Daniels has led off for the Reds most of the season. He's a real pupil of Ted Williams in the hitting department, has read all of Ted's books.
That shows he's smart anyway.
Yes.
He goes to the best if he can.
And off the glove of Uribe for a hit into short left field. Jose had all he could do just to dive and make contact with that ball that was twisting and skidding away from him. Even had he been able to glove it cleanly and get up and make a throw, Daniels might have been able to beat it out, even with the knee that's bothering him.
I think he would have beaten it out, as you mentioned. He does have speed, and what I mentioned in the outfield, I think when you start to run for a ball and you've had knee surgery, your leg gets tired chasing a ball. But running from home to first, I think you can run just as well. So he gets out of the box very well.
Well, here's where we'll get to see how good of a number 2 hitter Treadway is. Last time up, he was following on the heels of a Daniels home run, and he walked this time with Daniels at first base. Nobody out. Pitcher working off the stretch. Daniels a 25 base stealer this year.
Daniels was leaning towards second there, and I think Mike Lacoste saw that. That's why he threw over.
Giants conceding a pitch, but no motion by the runner.
I think Roger Craig might have also noticed that he was leaning, so he pitched out on the first pitch. Roger Craig calls all the pitch outs for the Giants. Pete Rose does the same for the Reds.
Interesting combination with the speed and power of Daniels leading off. The good bat of Treadway hitting second. Coming into this ball game today, Treadway, in 10 games with the Reds, had already amassed 6 games of 2 hits. So there's nothing at all fluky about the .318 he's hit so far. Runner holding, he faked the bunt and took a strike. 1-1 is the count. Caught stealing just 8 times this year. Obviously his stealing progress slowed down by the knee injury, but lately he's been running better. Had to leave the ball game in L.A. the other night, though, when the knee bothered him some, and was replaced late for a pinch runner. Diving back in that time. You sure put the infield to work, Joe, in a situation like this. Not only the speed of the Daniels, but with the bat of Treadway, it forces Kevin Mitchell way in at third base. It really opens up some things on that defensive infield.
Well, normally a left-handed hitter with a man at first base has the hole at the right side to shoot through. But with Kevin Mitchell playing in so shallow at third, he also has a big hole on the left side because shortstop and second baseman are playing up the middle for a double play, ground ball.
Now, where you saw Mitchell standing there a moment ago was not indicative of where he was playing. He backs up in between pitches and then comes forward onto the grass. With 1 and 2 now, he's gone back just a little bit. Runner holding, and it's fouled down the left field line. No chance for Davis as it drifts about 5 rows deep.
Ideally, what you want from your second place hitter is a guy that can really move the ball around. I mean, hit the ball to all fields. So that if you do put a hit and run on, he can shoot the ball through the left side if he's a left-handed hitter, or to the right side if he's a right-handed hitter. You want a guy that has a lot of discipline, which will give the base stealer a chance to steal the bases.
On 1 and 2, he's going. Pitch inside, and the throw too late. Melvin had to reach backhand inside for the pitch. And then we saw the strength of his arm as he got it right on the money, but Cal simply got there too quickly.
Well, Mike Lacoste does not have a great move to first base, and he takes a little more time going to the plate than you would like. Therefore, Cal Daniel gets a good jump, and he beats the strong throw from Bob Melvin.
Melvin puts that throw on the other side of the bag, and Cal would have been out, but it tailed toward the shortstop side, forcing Uribe to reach over.
And looking from that view, he did not get a good jump, actually.
Here's the 2-2 to the right side. Treadway will move the runner over as Clark gives to Lacoste. Will thought about going to third. Took a look at Kevin Mitchell with Cal Daniels approaching and decided to get the sure one for the first out. So Treadway basically does what that number 2 hitter should in that situation.
That's exactly what he's supposed to do. Hit the ball to the right side. You want a base hit, of course, but if not, at least move the runner over to third where he can score on a fly ball or possibly a ground ball.
Center fielder, Eric Davis.
Well, we only got one swing from Eric Davis the first time up. He fouled out to the right side. He has 99 RBIs on the year with number 100 90 feet away, 1 out. Infield playing in early in the ballgame. Some managers will not bring the infield in this early in the game, Joe.
Well, that's one of the things that Roger Craig does a lot. He is not really your normal manager. A lot of times he will play hunches, and he'll play the infield in early in the ball game like this, and sometimes he will not. It's just the way he feels. But most managers would not play the infield in at this time in the ball game. It's just standard procedure to play the infield back, because what happens when you bring the infield in, you open up a lot of holes, and you give the team an opportunity for a big inning rather than playing back and just conceding the 1 run.
Now it's 3-0. Lacoste missing upstairs with a fastball.
I'm sure Eric Davis will have the hit sign if he thinks that he can drive this pitch. So Mike Lacoste has to be careful in this situation.
Right to Kevin Mitchell. Roger Craig has another hunch work. 2 down. Davis hit the ball right on the nose, but on 1 hop to the third baseman, who is playing even with the bag.
And that was good base running by Cal Daniels. Quite often you'll see a runner at third and the ball hit directly at the third baseman. They're caught off the bag. But he did a good job of being able to get back. From this shot, you'll see a lot of times, as soon as that ball's hit, guys freeze. And the third baseman will be able to get between him and the bag, but not in this case.
Daniels still at third, now with 2 outs. It'll take a 2-out hit by Dave Parker. And Lacoste getting ahead in the count. Parker his first time walked and then was wiped out on the double play that went 1-3 on a line drive back to the pitcher.
This is one of the things that Dave Parker specialized in, especially the last 3 years with the Reds, is getting a lot of 2-out hits. He's been the Reds' most valuable player for the last 3 years.
This time, Lacoste worked him away, and Parker went right with the pitch and fouled it. It's 0-2. So Mike Lacoste with a pitching pattern of inside corner, then outside corner. And it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with on 0-2. Runner at third with 2 outs in the top of the third. The Reds on top of the Giants, 1-0 on Daniels' leadoff homer in the first. Fastball tailing down and away.
When you're in a situation like this with a runner at third, you get ahead of the hitter 0-2, you can sometimes waste 2 pitches. That was definitely a waste pitch from Mike Lacoste. I think you can waste another one if he wants. He could come way inside and then take the count to 2-2, which sets up a situation where he can go either way then.
That one a little bit high, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Mike Lacoste has been a busy pitcher in this afternoon of action. Rick Royschel threw 88 pitches in shutting down Houston the other day. And the next one this guy throws will be number 60. And the ball game is in the top of the 3rd inning.
He may end up doubling Russell's output if he remains in the ball game.
And he got Parker on a high fastball away, a big strikeout, and a runner left at third. It's 1-0 Reds after 2.5. As Cincinnati leaves another runner. And now here's a look back at a very special Olympic moment. I don't know if there's any place better to be at this stage of the season on a sunny afternoon than a ballpark full of about 50,000 plus with a pennant race taking place.
Well, pennant races are what you go to spring training for. All the players want to be in a pennant race in September. When you get that opportunity, you have to take advantage of it, and that's what the Giants have done so far this season. I think the Giants have been just a little hungrier down the stretch than Cincinnati has, and also Houston.
I'll tell you one indication of that. When we showed up at the ballpark around 10:30 this morning, nearly the entire San Francisco roster was out on the field for batting practice, shagging flies, doing some running. You can tell this team is ready to come to work at the park.
And I think that's, as I mentioned, one of the reasons they have done so well this season.
Bottom of the third and the top of the order up for the Giants. Robbie Thompson robbed on a good play by Buddy Bell his first time up. Buddy went diving backhand to keep him off base in the bottom of the first inning. Reds have out hit the Giants 4-3 and lead 1-0, and that's a fastball on the outside corner, 0-2. Here's a young man who's turned into a pretty popular figure in this baseball city in a short period of time.
Well, he's like the coal miner. He goes to work every day, just works very hard, nothing flashy. He's not a flashy second baseman defensively. He's not a flashy hitter. He just gets the job done. He does whatever the team needs to help him win. He moves the runners along, gets behind the runners. He just does a lot of things positive for the ball club.
And on the outside corner, Browning punches out Robbie Thompson for his third strikeout. Two of them have come on called third strikes.
One of the things that Scotty Breeden said that Browning has done better in his last 4 starts is pinpoint his pitches. As you see there, he hits the outside corner, the outside edge, actually. And he's also been able to pitch the right-handed hitters inside. He's been able to come inside with a slider and keep them off the plate. So when he goes away with the fastball or the screwball, it becomes more effective.
When he's around the plate, he works even quicker because he's known as one of the faster workers in the National League, Browning is. For a reason, has 3 strikeouts in just 2 1/3 innings.
Sorry about that. For reasons that are not really easy to explain, left-handed pitchers, if they can get the ball near the strike zone, they will normally win. Left-handers' problems are usually that they're wild.
No problem on that pop fly for Cal Daniels, and 2 up, 2 down. The Giants, in each of their first 3 innings at the plate against the left-hander Browning, have seen the first 2 hitters go down.
Number 41.
And we'll get our first look of the day at the right-handed hitter, Dave Henderson. Henderson is hitting at .250 with an RBI. He's been up there 12 times in 6 games for the Giants.
When Henderson came over from Boston, his first at bat in the National League, he faced Vance Law, a second baseman, who struck him out. The Giants were way ahead in the ball game, and Vance Law came in to do the pitching, and he ended up striking out Dave Henderson.
Henderson reminds me a little bit of a guy who's down the coast playing for the Dodgers now, Tito Landrum, who shuttled back and forth a couple of years ago between ball clubs that went to postseason play. This guy could be doing it here in San Francisco after last year's drama with the Red Sox. And it's well hit into left field. For the 3rd straight inning, the Giants start hitting the ball hard with 2 outs and the base is empty.
We might have seen a spot open up for Dave Henderson to be on the postseason roster. He was not eligible because he came to the Giants after the deadline. But as you know, if someone is injured and Joel Youngblood may be injured, then he can be installed in his place for the playoffs. So he may become eligible now, whereas he was not going to be eligible before today.
And once again, we remind our viewers we will be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of this ball game this afternoon. Candy Maldonado with a runner aboard popped out to the right side, ending the first inning. 1 on, 2 out here in the 3rd. Maldonado, his job is to drive in runs. Over the last 2 weeks, he's knocked in 14, covering 16 ball games. And way upstairs and way foul. That one almost reached into the 49ers press box way up there somewhere. That's where the football press views the action. Football field runs from the first base line out toward left field. 0-1 the count. to Maldonado with 74 RBIs. This guy has some impressive statistics if you go back to July 1st of '86. That's a span covering 179 ball games, and in that time he has 134 RBIs. Not quite an RBI a game pace, but pretty impressive nonetheless. That's what you look for from power hitters, Joe, their performance over the long haul.
And I think to be a good player, you either have to score runs or drive in runs. The great players do both. And Candy Maldonado was definitely driving in a lot of runs for the Giants early this season. And if he would not have been injured, I'm sure he would be in the top in the National League as far as runs batted in is concerned.
On 0-2, the Reds thought that Henderson might be doing some running and Maldonado might be doing some swinging, so they pitched out. Young Terry McGriff, the backup catcher on this squad, handling Browning today. We're told now that Joel Youngblood has been taken to Palo Alto Clinic for precautionary x-rays on both his right wrist and on his left thumb.
That could be a tough injury for the Giants, especially if they would not have acquired Dave Henderson. But with the acquisition of Dave Henderson, it doesn't look quite as bad now, I think.
2-2 is the count. Yeah, Henderson, one of many deals the Giants have made. As Al Rosen says, San Francisco is dedicated to winning the West this year. He doesn't want to do any stargazing into the future. He says, we won it this time. A 2-2 pitch. And the count goes full. With 2 outs, that will give Henderson the chance to be moving. And an extra base hit by Maldonado to tie up the ballgame. Pete Rose's Reds took a 1-0 lead early when Cal Daniels left the yard with a leadoff homer. Runner going, breaking ball, ball 4. Browning tried to bust one down and in on Maldonado, and Canby took it, and the Giants have 2 on. First walk issued by the left-hander.
I think what happened there is Browning was not going to give Maldonado a pitch that he could really drive, so he tried to throw the breaking ball for a strike on the inside corner, and he figured even if he missed, maybe Candy would swing at it and chase it. Candy took the pitch, and now the Giants have a threat with runners at first and second.
And a guy who can really hit left-handers. Chili Davis has hit 10 of his 20 against left-handed pitching. Fastball up high.
And that's really a better statistic than you think, because obviously you face more right-handed pitchers in the league than you do left-handed. They've got far more at bat.
Not out there that often. He's also up among the top 3 on the team in RBIs. Will Clark has 82. Maldonado has 74. Chili has 69. And Pete Rose is a little tired of watching 1 or 2 runners on base every inning after 2 get out. On 1-0, it's way high and way outside.
We were talking about Al Rosen thinking about the Giants winning this year. I think that he needs to get a pat on the back, because a lot of general managers will not think about 1 year. They say, well, we have to think about the future. I agree with Al Rosen. You may not be in a pennant race next year. You get a chance to take advantage of it and win it this year. You have to do everything you can to win this year. You worry about next year when that time comes, because there's no guarantee that you will be in a pennant race. A few years ago, the Giants were in a pennant race in '82. The next year, I think they finished last. So if you need that opportunity, you have to take advantage of it.
And, Joe, I think also along with that, your approach to trying to win it. It's not like Al Rosen has gone out and totally mortgaged the future for veteran ball players at the expense of younger players. He's kept all of his good young players around here, so the future looks bright whether they win it this year or not.
I think you're right there, but Al is only thinking of this year, and I have to agree with him.
The future is now in San Francisco. 2-0 the count with 2 on, 2 out. Giants trailing, trying to equalize or take the lead here in the 3rd inning. That is a base hit. Around third is Henderson, and this game is tied. Willie Davis delivers with 2 outs, his 70th RBI of the season.
Giants first baseman.
Obviously, when you play well and you're doing well, everything seems to fall into place. And most of the times when the Giants have needed a 2-out hit, someone has come through. And Chili Davis just continues that.
Giants have the lead in hits at 5-4. Browning now facing Will Clark, who he fanned the first time up. Breaking ball popped up. Back toward the seats. And just next to the Cincinnati dugout, no chance for Terry McGriff.
I think Tom Browning got away with a poor pitch there. It was a breaking ball, but it was up, and Will Clark fouled it back. Will has been hitting that ball out of the ballpark.
.335 down the lines here at Candlestick. .365, not real deep to the alleys.
In the past, it's been awfully tough to hit the ball out of Candlestick Park because of the wind. But this year, either the winds have died or there's rabbit in the ball or something, but there's been more home runs hit here than ever before.
This ballpark third in the league in home runs behind Wrigley Field, #1, and Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, #2. Lifted in the air to left field. Cal Daniels looking at it. Park on this Saturday afternoon in mid-September, and they came alive a moment ago as the Giants struck with some 2-out lightning to tie this ball game up. It's on to the top of the 4th now. Mike Lacoste has struck out 2, has walked a couple, has given up hits in every inning, but his team is tied. And he will face Buddy Bell, Nick Osaski, and Terry McGriff in the 4th inning. Bell was at the plate for that unusual double play that ended the 1st inning with Parker at first and Treadway at second. A line drive back to the box. Lacoste, falling backward, made the stab and doubled off Parker at first base. Buddy Bell has had a pretty consistent season for the Reds. Some consider him still the best defensive third baseman in the league, with all due respect to guys like Mike Schmidt, Terry Pendleton. Buddy Bell acknowledges that he's not the kind of a hitter that'll tear everything up for a couple of weeks at a time, but Buddy has been pleased with the consistency he's shown throughout his career. He's basically been a 280 to 300 hitter throughout this season and plays the good defense.
I think the biggest thing that he has done is adjust to the National League. When he first came over, he was having problems with the inside fastball because he had played in the American League where they basically pitch you away and throw you a lot of breaking balls. In the National League, they test you inside first with the fastball. And they were successful in there, so they stayed in there.
Kevin Mitchell stayed right with that one. One third baseman to another. And now you look up and Mike Lacoste has retired 4 in a row.
First baseman, Nick Osaski.
It's a good play by Mitchell. You see, he just stays down on the ball. And he has a very strong arm. I think that's one of the things that really surprised me about his play.
Nick Osaski had a multi-home run evening in L.A. the other night.
Earlier in this season, they were talking about trading Osaski. Now I think he probably figures prominently in their plans for next year.
Yeah, evidently, once the trade talk abated somewhat, Nick got with the program, and he's been a better consistent hitter throughout the season. The home run total, 21, 53 RBIs.
And he missed a great deal of the first part of the season because of injury. He had an injury. He was hit in the spring training, and he had a broken hand, so it took him a long time to get back in the groove.
He was ripping a little late on that one, and it's 1-2. Bob Melvin handling the right-hander Mike Lacoste today. Lacoste, who has pitched for the Reds, the Astros, the Royals, and for the Giants. Breaking ball, and Osaski just got a piece of it.
In June, the Reds made a move that did not pay off for them in the long run. They moved Dave Parker into first base and made an everyday player out of Cal Daniels and Tracy Jones. Cal Daniels responded very well. Tracy Jones did not, and they had to move. That was making Nick Esaska the odd man out. But when they moved Parker back to the outfield, it's allowed Nick Esaska to get more at-bats.
And really on the year, he does not have that many. He's just over 300. 21 home runs and the RBI total of 50-plus. Pretty impressive for those numbers. Robbie Thompson in the dirt, and a nice build by Will Clark. That was not an easy backhanded play by Clark. A short hop is easier than that in-between hop that he got.
As an infielder, you like the short hop. As a first baseman, you like the short hop, but you do not like this in-between hop. Robbie makes a nice play to get to the ball. He doesn't get a lot on the throw, and it bounces about 4 feet in front of Will, but he's able to come up with it. Nice play.
That's what they call soft hands over there on the right side. 2 ground balls and 2 outs. Terry McGriff out to Thompson, his first time up on a bouncer. That's what Robbie Thompson was talking about before the ball game. He says, I think the Giants pitchers know that if they throw ground balls, they will get the outs. And he says it keeps us on our toes to know that they are delivering pitches in that fashion, that they're going to give us some action and they're going to be around the plate. It means so much of the defense to have pitchers with control. That one was easy for Uribe, and a very easy 1-2-3 inning for Mike Lacoste. He's retired 6 in a row, and the Giants, despite the tie score, have re-grabbed the momentum in this ballgame. 60% strikes for Tom Browning so far through 3 innings. He's not exactly on a less than 100-pitch pace himself. A lot of pitches for Lacoste in the first 3.
I don't think he'll be around to throw 150 as is projected over 9 innings.
Barry Larkin is the man who will lead off for the Reds in the next inning, and here for the Giants in the 4th, it's Bob Melvin, the catcher. Well, the Giants have done some good hitting in this ball game with 2 outs. All of their hits have come with 2 outs. And now Roger Craig says, why don't we get a leadoff man aboard here somewhere? Pitch down and in, fouled over to the left side.
I think a left-hander that can throw the ball inside to a right-handed hitter, either with the slider or the fastball, can be very successful. Steve Carlton was the best I've ever seen at busting the slider in on the right-handed hitter. He could do that very well, and that's why he ended up with over 300 wins. But left-handers that can do that can be successful.
You don't hit that ball very hard and very far with the handle of the bat.
Exactly, and it makes you conscious of the pitch inside, which makes you more vulnerable to the pitch outside.
That's what he tries on 2-2 and gets the strikeout.
Well, he pitched him perfectly there. He pitched inside and then went away for the kill. So a left-hander that can do that can be successful. And Scott Breeden said he's been able to do that a lot better the last 4 starts than he was earlier in the year. You'll see now he gets the ball on the outside. That's another great pitch to a right-handed hitter after he set him up with 2 breaking balls inside.
Browning has been touched for 5 hits. That was his 4th strikeout. He's walked 1. Uribe took him through the shortstop hole his first time up. Numbers 7, 8, and 9 up for the Giants here in the 4th. Melvin, Uribe, and then Michael Lacoste. San Francisco has won 6 straight, a season high. That shows you how consistent they've been. They never really had the nightmarish couple of weeks that would knock them out of things. They've won 23 of their last 28 ball games as well here at home.
And we're talking about the confidence factor. They're talking about wrapping it up here Wednesday night. Which means they would have to win probably all 5 ball games between now and Wednesday.
Yeah, and everybody else would have to do some heavy losing, too, to make it happen that quickly.
But that's the way they think.
The Reds' problem is, after tomorrow, no more games left with the Giants. They've got to wait for help. There's a liner on a hop. Treadway stayed right with it.
It's a nice play. It looks very simple, but the good play was he stayed down on the ball. He didn't catch it cleanly. He let the ball bounce in his stomach and make a play from there.
Yeah, you don't have time to come in and grab it on the fly or to back up to get the big hop. The ball just sort of freezes you, and then it's time to get the body in front. 2 outs, bases empty, and the pitcher up. Mike Lacoste flied to the left, leaving 2 runners in the second. But the Giants cashed in a 2-out opportunity in the third and an RBI hit by Chili Davis. Now it's back to the screen, 0-2.
There's actually no wind here at the ballpark today, so the pitchers are doing a pretty good job, because when there's no wind in Candlestick Park, it becomes a very small ballpark.
0-2. All the other National League action under the lights. In the East, the Cardinals are at home against the Cubs. Sanderson and McGrain in that game tonight. Montreal hosting Philly. Dennis Martinez against Shane Rawley in that game. And it's 2-2. St. Louis starting this Saturday with a 1.5 lead over the Mets and 2 over Montreal. The Astros, 10 back of the Giants in the West, are home behind Nolan Ryan to host the Padres and Ed Whitson this evening. And a little change speeds by Browning, and a strikeout, number 5 in the game, a 1-2-3 4th inning. It's 1-1 after 4, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. With 71 pitches, that projects out to a goodly number over 9 as well. So you get the feeling that the bullpens might be in action in this ball game in the 8th or 9th inning this afternoon.
Well, I know the Giants bullpen will be in action, because Roger Craig will not let him throw 160 pitches.
Top of the 5th, Larkin followed by Browning and Daniels for the Reds. 1-1 the score. Cincinnati has been out hit by San Francisco 5-4. And a pop fly in the left field. Chili Davis, 1 down. Okay, we saw the sign there a moment ago, Joe, about hum baby. Roger Craig's saying that has taken hold here. Maybe you can fill the folks in as exactly what that means to folks in the Bay Area.
Well, in the Bay Area, it's kind of a nickname for Roger Craig. And for baseball fans, they have to go back a long way to understand the meaning of hum baby. It started out as come on baby. You know, that was the way it was started. But people shortened it to come baby, and then come up with hum baby. And that's the way fans think of it around here. It's really an exciting chant. They use it as a chant.
Whoops, it died in the grass on Lacoste, and no chance to make the play. Talk about some serious backspin on that one. That looked like a nice approach shot to any green in America. It hit the turf and bit and sat right there.
And we'll see here, Mike Lacoste gets off the mound quickly, but I think he thought the ball was going to come towards him, and obviously it did not, and therefore he was not able to make the play. But to continue the phrase hum baby, basically it's a feeling more than just a word. It's the way the Giants players feel about Roger Craig. He is their hum baby, they call it.
1 on, 1 out. So Browning reaching base. Yeah, it is fun, the way things are progressing out here. It's been a while since they've had this atmosphere in this ballpark in September. About 5 years or so.
Right.
Braves won it back in '82. Giants didn't.
I was fortunate enough to be on that ball club, and we made a good run at it, and we lost out the last couple of days of the season to the Atlanta Braves, but it was a great feeling for San Francisco fans at that time.
You had your share, though, didn't you?
Well, I was fortunate. I played for the Reds. In the 70s, they had a lot of opportunities. In fact, Johnny Bench is in the ballpark today, and Tony Perez, Pete Rose, Davey Concepcion, guys that were teammates of mine when we won championships. There's the big dog, as we called him, Tony Perez. He's the first base coach for the Reds. Bench does the television for the Reds.
Davey Concepcion, a most valuable player on the bench, starting at times this year. And, of course, you all know about Pete. 1-0 the count to Cal Daniels, who's had a perfect day so far with a home run and a single, plus a steal.
One of the things that Bench and I discussed today was that age-old question of whether a superstar can be a good manager. You know, discussing Pete Rose. You know, Ted Williams, some of the great players in the past had trouble being a good manager because they expected so much from the players, because their careers were so great and they thought the game should be played a certain way. And sometimes you wonder whether they have the patience with players of less ability. So I think the jury's still out on whether a superstar can be a very good manager.
Concepcion. A lot of speculation that he'll be back with the Reds next year because of a good job he's done this time around.
Well, he's done a great job filling in, as you mentioned, playing a little shortstop, third base, first base, and second base. So he's turned into a very valuable utility man. And at one time, in my opinion, he was the best shortstop that I'd ever seen until I saw Ozzie Smith. I played with Davey a number of years, and he was a great shortstop. And when you watch Ozzie Smith play, I think it's kind of like watching Yvonne Lindell as a tennis player and the other guy.
Going the other way, Daniels with power to the wall, and back in time is Chili Davis. That ball got out there in a hurry. We talked about the number of center field and opposite field homers this young man has hit this year, and he's almost added 2 to the total today.
I think the only reason that one didn't go out is he didn't have enough altitude. It was more of a line drive, and it wouldn't carry enough for him.
Jeff Treadway.
That's the second out of the inning, and Jeff Treadway, the hitter, with a runner at first, the pitcher Browning, who singled with 1 out. Treadway has walked and grounded to the right side, but that ground ball did move a runner over. The first out of the third inning. Then Davis and Parker couldn't do the job to knock him in. With 1 out, Davis grounded to third, and then Parker struck out. And then in the bottom of the inning, the Giants came back to tie the game, so you have to figure that that shifted things around in this ball game a little bit. Reds did not take advantage of an early chance for a 2-run lead.
I don't think there's any doubt that the pendulum swings when one team has one team on the ropes and they can't put them away. It just swings back to the other side, especially if you're the home team.
A liner to the shortstop, and Uribe got a good jump. He was moving with the pitch, seeing that pitch down and away to the left-handed hitter. And he made the play. The Reds get a hit. They leave 1. They've stranded 3. Middle of the 5th. It's still top. Big crowd. Candlestick Park, San Francisco, with Joe Morgan, Bob Carpenter, on our game of the week. And it's been a pretty interesting 1-to-1 ball game so far. Lots of things happening. Joel Youngblood out of the game with an injury. Tom Browning still in the game with an injury. We understand the Palo Alto Hospital is about a half hour or so from here. So reports may be a little slow in coming on the condition of Youngblood, who is on his way there for x-rays, but we'll pass those along to you as soon as we get them. Top of the order, Robbie Thompson. Robbed by Buddy Bell on a grounder in the first and called on strikes in the third. Hits are even at 5. Reds with a run in the first, Giants equalizing in the third. Tom Browning, a 20-game winner a couple of years ago. And he just hit him. Just grazing Robbie Thompson.
Browning has decided he wanted to pitch Robbie inside. This pitch gets away, and it probably just nicked his uniform, but it doesn't have to hit flesh. All it has to do is touch any part of your uniform, and you're considered to be hit by the pitch.
And for the first time today, the Giants have put the leadoff man aboard. We'll see how Mitchell goes to work in that situation. Kevin called on strikes and flying out in the third inning. And with a runner moving, a little looper in the right field that'll put runners at the corners with nobody out. They started Thompson off first, and everybody on the infield could only watch as Kevin hit one that snuck into the outfield.
Roger Craig likes to use the hit and run on the first pitch, which he does here. Robbie Thompson's running on the pitch. Kevin Mitchell's trying to go to right field, and he actually hits it toward the end of the bat. And Robbie Thompson's not sure at first. Now he knows it's a base hit, so he chugs around the third.
Runners at third and at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the 5th. Henderson singled his last time up and came around and scored on the single by Chili Davis. Browning missing away.
The Reds are playing the infield back. They're going to concede this, try to get a double play, and keep the Giants from putting a big rally together here in the 5th inning. So on any ground ball, the Giants will be able to score a run unless it's hit back to the pitcher. But even then, they should score the run because the Reds should go for the double play.
Up and in, 2-0.
And quickly, he's digging himself a hole here. Because if he has to face Candy Maldonado with the bases loaded, he will not be able to pitch to his weaknesses. He'll have to throw strikes.
Three and 0. 2 on. Nobody out. Tom Browning breaking a sweat on this warm Saturday afternoon at Candlestick. And the Giants have him sweating right now in regard to the score. Runner moving off first. Pitch is ball 4. Second walk of the game issued by Browning, who has walked one and hit one in this inning.
And he's going to get a visit from Scotty Breeden, the pitching coach, and a lot of action in the Reds bullpen.
And the next two hitters, the right-handers, Maldonado and Davis. Bill Landrum is the right-hander, and Bill Shearer is the left-hander for Cincinnati.
They've got a complete meeting at the mound. I think they're trying to decide exactly how they're going to play this. Or Scotty Breeden is telling them how Pete Rose wants them to play. They have an option of playing in at the corners, meaning first and third, and coming to the plate on a ground ball and not letting the run score. But the middle infielders are going to play back and try to get a double play, as I mentioned, to try to keep the Giants from having a big inning here. So I think a ground ball to third, first, or the pitcher, they will come home with it.
And you have a rookie catcher out there, so you're more liable to see a visit from the dugout in that situation rather than the catcher just going out and taking charge. Terry McGriff is catching Tom Browning today. Maldonado has popped up and walked. He has 74 RBIs on the year and a chance for a fistful here. To the third baseman, Bell goes to second for one. The relay, they got them both.
That is a great play on behalf of both the third baseman, Buddy Bell, and Fred Way at second base. He really turned it well after Buddy Bell got the ball to him. The Giants do score a run, but that's what Cincinnati was hoping for, to get a double play and get out of the jam.
Buddy Bell had his mind made up to go straight to second base. And it was more important for him to get it there in a hurry rather than get the strong throw up on his feet.
Exactly, because sliding into second base, Dave Henderson was putting a lot of pressure on Treadway, and he was able to come across the bag and make the play.
So the Giants take the lead. The potential big inning by the boards. And we'll see what Chili Davis does with a runner at third and 2 out.
And I think they'll be especially careful with Chili Davis because left-handed hitting Will Clark is on deck. And as we've mentioned, Chili has done a very good job hitting right-handed this year.
And he popped him up into right center. Looking up into the sun is Eric Davis. And a pretty good job by Tom Browning to escape a huge San Francisco inning. But the Giants do take the lead on a hit batter, a single, a walk, and a double play grounder. San Francisco 2-1. A crowd that appears to be in the range of mid-40s, maybe 50,000 here today.
He's probably trying to get to a telephone to answer that.
Top of the sixth, Eric Davis has fouled out and grounded out. And he pops one up. Back goes Thompson. Finds it and gets turned around to make the play.
One of the things I've noticed different about Eric Davis this late in the season, He is attacking every pitch. He's hitting a lot of first pitch pop-ups. Early in the year, he was getting a pitch to hit. Now maybe he's getting a little impatient now that you're getting toward the end of the season. And he's trying to, of course, hit 40 home runs and hit 300 as well. And I think he's starting to press a little bit because anytime you start attacking the first pitch, it's okay if you're getting base hits. But when you start to make outs, you have to let the pitcher get into the count.
Dave Parker got Lacoste into the count for a walk in the first inning. Struck out, ending the third with a runner at third. That's when the Reds wasted that opportunity to take an early 2-0 lead. Parker battling a knee, which will probably require a little orthoscope action when the season is over.
Yes, he's trying to prolong it until the season is over because there was one time about a month ago he thought he was going to have it right away. But they told him that he couldn't do any more damage, so he's going to try to hold out for the rest of the season.
The left knee, as we talked about earlier, making it tough for him to plant the foot and get the ball in the air. And during batting practice at Dodger Stadium the other day, he was working with Tony Perez trying to keep that weight back, and that's a lot of weight to keep back on that knee with a big guy like this. Fastball up and away, 2-1. And Joe, of course, all good hitters know that weight shift, keeping that weight back and shifting through the ball is so vital.
And that's what I was going to say. He's trying to do something now that he hasn't done in his 14 years in the big league. He's trying to hit off the backside, and it's almost impossible for him to make that change in a short period of time.
This one will drift out of play.
And you can see right there he's staying back on his left foot. And that's not the Dave Parker swing. Now, there are a lot of hitters who hit off the backside. We'll see here. See how he stays back there? There's still a lot of guys who hit that way. And that's okay because that's their normal swing. But Dave Parker's is to shift forward and actually come out over the front side.
On 2-2 off the end of that. And right by Billy DeMar is a third.
And you mentioned Tony Perez being the hitting coach now. That's another bad situation for the Reds, which compounded the problem that they weren't playing bad. All of a sudden, they shifted hitting coaches with a month to go. Billy DeMar was the hitting coach before, and now Tony Perez is. And you like as few distractions as possible when you're in a pennant race. But the Reds made the shift about 3 weeks ago. And Billy DeMars had been the coach for, I guess, the last 3 years, been the hitting coach with the Reds.
3-2, 1 out. Bases empty in the 6th. Parker takes it the other way and unable to reach it. Kevin Mitchell. Parker will hold with a single as it's returned nicely by Chili Davis. What an indication of the strength of Dave Parker, taking an outside pitch, reaching out, and still being able to line the ball.
And I think it's also an example of the fact, like you say, he can't really turn on that front leg, so Chili Davis was playing over that way, which keeps him from getting a double, because normally this is a double. Anytime a left-handed hitter lines the ball over the third baseman's head, as Dave does here, it should be a double. If you see him hustling out of box very quickly, but there's no chance to stretch that into a double.
1 on, 1 out, and Buddy Bell. What a day he's had in the field. You look at the plays he's made. The double play last inning, but also in the first inning. The very first man up, Thompson, robbed by Bell, and that became magnified later when Youngblood doubled with 1 out, rather with 2 outs after Buddy Bell had turned an out, or rather turned to hit into an out. So he has definitely had an impact on this ball game with his glove. And high throw, and Will Clark kept it from going down into the bullpen.
And Buddy Bell has been a good player all his career because of that. He can help you defensively as well as with the bat. A lot of players can only help you with the bat or defensively. Buddy Bell can do both.
Speaking of the Giants bullpen a moment ago, they have a right-hander working down there. And they're getting some other activity as well. Kelly Downs has been throwing for a few moments. And now Craig Lefferts is up throwing from the left side. Fastball upstairs, and it's 2-0. Lions pen number 1 in the National League in ERA right now at 3.09. And second in relief pitching wins to the Cardinals. Bell fisted, rams it by third, foul. But he turned on that pitch pretty well. It looked like it was going to be handle time inside. He got the big end of the bat around.
That's one of the reasons that he's done better here in the National League. He started to turn on the pitches inside. When he first came over, he was just trying to push that ball to right field, and he could not do it successfully. Now he started to turn on the ball, and that's also the reason I think he's hit 14 home runs this year, because you get the ball inside every once in a while, you turn on it, and you'll hit it out of the ballpark.
Mike Lacoste just threw his 90th pitch here in the 6th inning. 2-1 the count with 1 on, 1 out. Dave Parker always has that pretty good speed for a guy his size. You would have to think that his present physical condition would slow things down a little bit in terms of running. But on 2-1, he's holding as Bell had a good rip and took it back to the screen. Buddy got a pitch up.
Well, that's what's starting to happen to Mike Lacoste. He's starting to get the ball up a little bit. And I think that's why Roger Craig has so much action going in the bullpen. When Mike gets the ball up, he's in trouble.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Runners moving now. And a liner that sneaks through. Parker makes the turn and holds at second base. Off the fists by Buddy Bell. Mitchell nor Uribe able to reach it. You couldn't have placed it any better if you're Buddy Bell.
One of the reasons you use the hit and run play is to stay out of the double play. The other reason is to get the runner from first to third on a base hit to the outfield. They accomplished one part of it. They stayed out of the double play, but they were not able to get the runner to third base, because normally on a hit and run you go first and third, and then you can score on a fly ball. Roger Craig comes out of the Giant dugout.
Well, we mentioned the pitch count a moment ago. Lacoste is approaching 100. He's given up 7 hits. The ball game is 1 out in the top of the 6th.
And he hasn't been exactly sharp, even though he's only given up the 1 run.
This may be one of those situations where the manager looks you in the eye, and it's up to you to tell him how you feel. He is really talking to Lacoste. Now he's looking toward the bullpen, and now he's signaling, it appears, for the right-hander. And Lacoste is finished after 5 in the 3rd inning. A pitching change here in the 6th inning. 2 on, 1 out. Giants lead 2-1, but the Reds are threatening to score. With a mark of 10-8, got his first save recently, and lately he's been very tough with 10 consecutive scoreless innings the last few times out. He's warming up at the right time of the season for this club.
Well, Kelly Downs was really a successful starting pitcher for the Giants, but when they acquired Dave Dravecky and also Rick Russell, it gave an opportunity for him to go into the bullpen. You know, Rick Russell is one of the better starting pitchers in the league, as Roger Craig said, so that really took Kelly Downs out of the starting lineup.
He inherits 2 runners with 1 out. Facing Nick Isaski. Look out. Ball 1. Mike Lacoste went 5 in the 3rd innings, gave up 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a home run. Has allowed a run and is responsible for up to 2 more. Roger Craig is keeping the bullpen busy. Another right-hander has replaced Kelly Downs down the right field side. Lefferts, of course, the left-hander, has been throwing. And now Don Robinson joins in. Mike Lacoste still could be the winner here. Downs could punch out this rally, and they could hold on the rest of the way. Now it's 1-2. This Giants bullpen has been something. The Cardinals have 34 bullpen wins this year, the Giants 32, but when you put that together with their ERA of just over 3, pretty strong. That the Reds bullpen has been pretty good, too. They're second in bullpen ERA. On 1-2, a fastball up and in.
The Giant bullpen has lost Scotty Gorelts, who was their stopper the last couple of years for the season. But it really has not affected them yet because Don Robinson has done a great job, and so has Craig Leffers.
And they say that Gorelts could be pitching some batting practice as early as Monday. In the dirt, and a pretty good play by Melvin to keep those runners from moving up. It's a 3-2 count now, but Bob Melvin may have just stopped the Reds from turning this into a pretty significant inning.
One of the things that happens a lot in the ball game is catchers do keep the ball in front, but it's an overlooked play. That's a very important thing that doesn't show up in the box score right there, is him keeping the ball in front of him, because the runners would already be at third and second now.
And I think that replay showed he was reaching outside his body to grab that one, too. That was a very difficult play. Now it's 3-2. Runners are moving. Strikeout. Throw to third. Double play. Melvin to Mitchell. Nailing Parker. And Kelly Downs comes in to take care of the Reds in the 6th inning. 2 hits, 1 left. They've left 4. Sending Parker to third with 1 out, and a good catcher with a great arm back there.
Well, and also you have a guy, a home run hitter at the plate, who strikes out a lot. He swings at a bad pitch here, and there it is. He's out. But all that was made possible by Bob Melvin blocking the pitch before to keep the double play in order. But Pete likes to make things happen. He likes to put runners in motion. That's the type of player he was, an aggressive player, and that's the way he is as a man. He's very aggressive.
His Reds still trailed 2-1, bottom of the 6th. Will Clark to lead off for the Giants, and he shoots one to left center. Here comes Eric Davis, and he got there. This guy has made some remarkable catches throughout the season. You've seen them all in the highlight reels, but also this week. 2 spectacular catches in Atlanta, 2 more in the 9th inning in game 1 of the doubleheader at L.A. the other night, including a shoestringer that ended the ball game. And now a running stab here.
What you see here, though, is you see the left fielder just clear out of the way and give him running room. And when he goes the other way, the right fielder clears out of the way. He roams the outfield.
Here's Melvin. 1 for 2 with a single. He has struck out, and he's also contributed defensively. And an outstanding play in the dirt a moment ago, then gunning out Parker at third. Have you ever seen a player make more of an impact defensively early in his career than Eric Davis has? I don't think I've ever seen anybody with as much attention paid to his defense so early.
No, and I think the key thing here is the guy gets a great jump on the ball, and he has great speed, and he's proven that he has great leaping ability and great timing, and that he's jumped over the wall at least 5 times this year to take home runs away from players.
Right at Buddy Bell, and he took his eye off the ball, maybe.
And the ball is also coming out of the white shirts of the crowd.
Very unusual to see Buddy Bell muff a play like that. You have to think something went wrong on the way to his glove.
Well, actually, when he puts his glove in front of his face and his arm kind of shields the ball from him, and you're only reaching where you thought the ball might be before.
For the Giants, running at first base for Bob Melvin.
And a pinch runner now for Bob Melvin.
Randy Kutcher.
Buddy Bell with an E, and Randy Kutcher will be the runner.
Giants
It's
shortstop.
unusual to see a guy of Buddy Bell's ability defensively making a mistake like that, especially on a ball hit directly at him.
And then here's an aggressive approach by Roger Craig. He figures, well, the other team gave us a break. I'm going to get a pinch runner out there and see if we can make something happen. That's what he's thinking right now, even with the numbers 8 and 9 hitters due up.
Well, Jose Uribe has done a good job offensively, so he's not like your normal 8th place hitter. He can run a little bit, and he can put the ball in play. He can shoot the ball to right field, and he can pull the ball. Roger Craig likes to hit and run on the first pitch when he uses that play.
1 on, 1 out. Long one to left by Uribe. Back toward the fence. See you later.
pitcher, Kelly Downs.
Yeah, so they do curtain calls on the West Coast, too, huh?
And been getting a lot of curtain calls lately.
Jose Uribe with his 5th of the year. RBI is up to 24, and suddenly the Giants have a 3-run lead. Kelly Downs did the job on the mound a few moments ago. He bats now with 1 out, 2 runs in. The error costly to Cincinnati. Again, this Giants team punching out a Cincinnati chance at the plate and then coming right back and scoring.
Actually, earlier Monday evening, Jose Uribe hit a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning to win a ball game for the Giants from the left side. Now he hits a home run from the right side. So it's been a good week for Jose.
And Kelly Downs striking out.
It's Jose Uribe, and he doesn't seem as excited now he does as you think he might be, because he's not used to hitting a lot of home runs. He's hit 2 this week.
Second baseman, Robbie Thompson.
As Bill Landrum, he's warming up in the Reds bullpen.
Ronnie Euling, his 26th home run of the year. Robbie Thompson, hit by a pitch last time, came around to score on the double play ground ball off the bat of Candy Maldonado. Giants with 2 runs here in the 6th, one of them unearned, to take a 4-1 lead. Here comes Cal Daniels, diving and making an outstanding play. There's the guy who's hurting out there, but he came on and made a pretty good play to end the inning. But 2 runs on only 1 hit. And after 6, the home team on top 4-1. We'll be right back to San Francisco's Candlestick Park after these messages from your local station. Down the pennant stretches in his career, this guy was producing runs.
Oh, man.
Today, Joe Morgan is working alongside me, and happy birthday, Joe, and we have a little memento of your special day here.
Well, I thank you. That number 8 looks good. Is this Ken Edmondson's doing?
Are we really supposed to put these on?
I can't put it on.
I don't know about that part.
Actually, I'm supposed to stop celebrating birthdays. I'm 44 years old now. This is my last one.
Joe, congratulations. A pleasure to be with you on this special day.
Thank you very much, Bob.
And I know that you'd rather be nowhere other than the ballpark on your birthday.
You're exactly right.
All right, here we go. To the 7th, we have defensive changes for the Giants to tell you about. You see a new catcher back there. Bob Brenly has taken over. And we also have a pinch hitter in front of him as Dave Collins is working for the Reds. There's also a new center fielder for San Francisco. Eddie Milner is in the ball game. Dave Collins is hitting .268 with 5 RBIs for the Reds. From the left side, he's hitting .250. And it's 2-1.
A lot of guys might remember Dave Collins. He played for Seattle, then he came to the Reds. From there, he went to the American League Yankees, the Detroit Tigers, Toronto Blue Jays. He's been around. He's always been a good utility player, meaning he plays left field, center field, and right field, and he can run. Stole a lot of bases in his career.
Takes one down low, and it's 3-2. Last time Dave Collins appeared was in L.A. the other night when he actually replaced Cal Daniels as a pinch runner. And the strikeout for Kelly Downs.
I think you see Kelly Downs has excellent stuff on the ball. And like I mentioned, he's done a good job for the Giants. But when Rick Russell came over and Dave Dravecki made him expendable, and they can use him in the bullpen as he throws a fastball right by Dave Collins.
And that's the kind of heat you like to have coming out of the bullpen in the late innings. 1 out. Downs has struck out both hitters he's faced. Barry Larkin has doubled and flied to left. Fastball up high.
Barry Larkin and Will Clark were teammates on the Olympic team for America in 1984. He won a silver medal. He hit .311 in the Olympics.
And he's hitting pretty well here today. To the left side, Chile Davis up with it. And a one-out single for Barry Larkin here in the 7th. You saw the 4 Ks upstairs, 2 of those by the starter Lacoste and 2 by Kelly Downs.
For Cincinnati, pinch hitting for the pitcher, Tom Brown.
Boy, a bad break for the Giants as we get the report now on Joel Youngblood. A broken bone in his right wrist. He is out for the year, including postseason play. The left thumb that was also x-rayed is okay, but the wrist injury certainly enough to knock him out.
Well, actually, that's a tougher blow for Joel than it is for the Giants. I mean, he looked forward to being in postseason play and trying to help the Giants, win a world championship. Now he will not get that opportunity. I'm sure he will be replaced on the roster by Dave Henderson, so the Giants figure they have someone that they can help. But I still believe that, Joel Youngblood knows that he would rather be playing than sitting around watching the World Series, if the Giants get that far.
Terry Francona pinch hitting here in the 7th inning. Francona, a left-hander who's hitting .218 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. He's worked his way ahead in the count. Collins pinch hitting, struck out to start the inning. Larkin with a single. Reds need some base runners to get that tying run to the plate. Larkin with a pretty good lead. Will Clark holding. He's holding as the pitch is low. 3-0. So the Reds have good speed at first, and they're about to put the tying run to the plate in the person of Daniels, who has power hitting next. Right one. There's the man who started the action today with a long home run to left center field. The Giants do not want to see him up there as the tying run in the 7th inning of this 4-1 game. That is a foul tip. Brenly wasn't sure, so he was pouncing on it.
And probably if that was the second strike, Pete Rose would probably be out arguing.
We'll give you the line on Tom Browning in just a moment. His day is done. With Francona hitting for the pitcher here in the 7th. Runner moving up the middle. It is through. Over to third will go Larkin. Runners at the corners with 1 out and about to step to the plate, the tying run. So the Reds aren't conceding this one yet, and Roger Craig is on his way to the mound.
Craig Leffert seems to be the one that's throwing the hardest in the bullpen.
So we have action here in San Francisco. The Reds are knocking at the door with 2 on, 1 out. We'll return in just a moment with the Giants leading in the 7th by a 4-1 score. Here on board is Craig Leffert here in the 7th inning. Leffert's 8 saves for the Padres last year, with a rather 4 saves with a record of 9 and 8. And then those are his San Francisco numbers this year before coming over. Leffert's also had a couple of saves with San Diego. The left-hander against Cal Daniels. Breaking ball inside.
Craig Leffert is very tough on left-handed hitters, so that's why Roger Craig wants to bring him in against Cal Daniels. But with a guy like Daniels who does not pull the ball, He's not going to pull off a lot against left-handed pitching. And if you can keep the front shoulder in, normally you can handle left-handed pitchers.
And a breaking ball, this one down and unable to reach it. Daniels, who's hit the ball hard 3 times today.
And as soon as I say that, he pulls off. And his front shoulder went flying out.
He homered in the first, singled and stole in the third, and lined out to the fence in the 5th in left field going the other way. Breaking ball up high, 2-1. So nothing but breaking pitches from Lefferts to Daniels so far.
And I think the reason for that is because they know he has not seen a lot of left-handed pitching. And the one pitch that can bother you when you do not see left-handers is the curveball, because you have a tendency to pull your shoulder out.
2-1 count. Fastball off the fist to the second baseman. Looking for 2. They do it. 4-6-3, and San Francisco dodges another Cincinnati rally. It's 7th inning stretch time in front of a big crowd at Candlestick Park. The Giants still lead 4-1.
Bob Leary, he's the owner of the Giants. He's the guy in the back with the glasses on. And they've done a unique thing here in San Francisco. You know, they've been trying to get a ballpark to replace Candlestick Park. They've had problems, so he's taken the vote to the fans. It's on Proposition W. It's going to be on the ballot, and the fans will be able to vote to see whether they want the Giants to stay or go, because if they vote against it, I think the Giants will be sold to another city. But Bob Leary wants to keep the Giants here in San Francisco.
Downtown, the site talked about.
7th and Townsend is the one they're going to vote on. Proposition W, it'll be one way or the other.
And a right-hander on for the Reds, Bill Landrum, here in the 7th inning, facing Kevin Mitchell, Eddie Milner, and Candy Maldonado. Bo Diaz is the new Cincinnati catcher. Diaz will hit 7th. Two balls and 1 strike to Kevin Mitchell. He's a guy that Pete Rose really admires because of his hard-working approach to the game, playing hurt, as we discussed earlier.
Well, he probably reminds Pete of himself a little bit.
The one remark Pete made to me, though, is that, yeah, he's still young and he's hungry, still trying to make money. We'll see how he approaches it a little bit down the line when he gets to be a veteran, but you get the feeling that Mitchell will stay that way. He's a hard worker.
I think that's one of the problems Pete Rose has with players now, is that they are not as hungry as players of the past, in Pete's opinion. And he thinks that sometimes the players think they're better than they are. He says now to be a superstar, all you have to do is hit 250 because you're going to make a lot of money.
Under the glove of Osaski, and a base hit for Mitchell, who now has singled his last 2 times up and is 2 for 4 for the day. And offensively, with the runner at first leading off here in the 7th. Look at our first look of the day at Eddie Milner, who's hitting .240 with 4 home runs and 15 RBIs. Here's a guy who can do a lot of things for you. He's quick. He can pinch hit. He can steal bases for you. Versatile performer. Plays some outfield. Not that it's that relevant now with the expanded rosters, but with the 24-man roster, you need the kind of people who can fulfill different roles on the ball club.
Well, that's been the key to the 24th man the last couple of years since they have cut the roster.
Runner moving. Hit and run. It's fouled off to the left.
I think one of the things the fans have to notice is that Roger Craig puts guys in motion at all times. He does not sit and wait for the long, big inning. He tries to move runners along. He will squeeze. He hits and runs a lot. He just does a lot of things that are, you know, good, aggressive baseball.
And observers of Giant baseball feel it's exciting because by doing so, especially with a lead here, he still forces the team that's trailing to play defensively against his club. Now the wind is kicking up down on the field for the first time this afternoon as we approach the sort of late afternoon hours. Laid down in front of the pitcher. He looked to second and on to first.
And that's another thing Roger Craig does. He does not as I mentioned, play for the big inning and try to put the other team away. He just tries to get one. And the reason behind that is for every one they score, they have to score 2 to beat them.
And in this case, if he can extend that lead to 4, the Reds would need 3 base runners in an inning just to get the tying run up there. Those flags were limp for the first 5 or 6 innings of this one today, but here in the 7th, they're blowing straight out.
Therein lies one of the reasons the Giants want to move out of Candlestick Park. Every day at precisely 3:56, the wind starts to kick up. It's really a phenomenon.
Danny Maldonado fouling one off to the right. Maldonado has fouled out, walked, and hit into a 5-4-3. We might add, on a good play by Buddy Bell, a more than good play. A play that really kept the Giants from breaking this thing open in the 5th inning. In the 6th, they may have done it after Bell's error, ironically, and a homer by the number 8 hitter, Jose Uribe. The shadows of the light standard covering the left side of the infield now around third base. A ball and a strike, 1 on, 1 out. They've sacrificed the runner to second here in the bottom of the 7th. Ron Robinson of the Reds will throw against Mike Krukow tomorrow in the wrap-up of this short 2-game series, and that'll be the last time the Giants and the Reds see each other in '87. The Reds have to hope for help from teams like Atlanta and San Diego down the stretch, and L.A. In fact, Treadway was trying to do whatever he could to get down in between Mitchell and the bag. Eric Gregg right on the spot for the call.
I think one of the things that you mentioned is going to be tough for the Reds is the fact that the Giants have played very well as we get another look at Landrum trying to pick Mitchell off, and you see Treadway falls on top of him. But the Giants have played very well against the Padres and the Dodgers, so it's going to be awfully tough for Cincinnati to make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, the only team the Giants really haven't played very well against this year are the Mets, leading to some interesting speculation about the playoffs.
And Roger Craig has gone on record as saying that he thinks the Mets will catch the Cardinals and will ultimately win the National League East.
But he'd rather play St. Louis.
He'd rather play St. Louis.
3-1. Runner moving. Swing and a miss. Double play. Or rather, on strike 2, they got the runner at third. And now they call him safe. The throw obviously beat him there.
No, Kevin thought he was safe.
Yeah, Kevin thought he was safe. So now you've got 2 outs, a 3-2 count on the hitter, and here's how it all transpired once more.
You have to give a lot of credit to Bo Diaz because actually Mitchell had a good jump from second base, but he makes a nice throw and a nice tag by Buddy Bell. He took off before Landrum actually went to the plate, so he got a good jump.
On 3-2, it's fouled upstairs to the right. Roger Craig saying that the Cardinals with an injured Jack Clark might be a better matchup for his team.
Well, I think with an injured Jack Clark, it makes the Cardinals really just a good team and not an exceptionally good team. With Jack Clark in the lineup, they are an exceptionally fine ball club. He's kind of like Dave Parker. He's the middle of that lineup, and he lets Willie McGee and Tommy Herr and Pendleton and all the other guys work around him. And when you take him out, it changes the whole character of that lineup.
Here's the 3-2. Out of play again. And, of course, the Expos are within 2 games of the Cardinals right now. That Montreal ball club seems to be one that doesn't have the dominant personality. They have Tim Raines, but they seem to find ways to win.
Well, Tim Wallach is having a great season along with Tim Raines, but I think the key there is that they've been able to beat the Cardinals consistently during the year.
And now, finally, Maldonado works for a walk. The inning started with a single by Mitchell. On to second on the sacrifice, and then gunned down at third.
There's a look. That's Bill Shearer. He's warming in the Reds bullpen.
Second time he's been up today. Joey Davis will now Hit from the left side. A 242 hitter there.
Whenever the Giants have gotten the Reds on the hook today, they have taken advantage of it.
Sometimes with 2 outs, sometimes a little early. Right now, let's pause briefly for our station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Bob Carpenter, Joe Morgan at Candlestick Park. 7th inning, Giants on top 4-1, though they've been out hit 9-8. A ball and a strike to Chili Davis. Hit hard to left field. Buck Daniels right there. And Browning batting in the 2nd inning. Joel Youngblood had his season come to an end.
Well, he gives it the all-out effort. As you see, he's chasing this foul ball. Now the wall comes into play very quickly, and he uses his right hand to try to brace himself to keep him from hurting himself. But in doing so, he really injured his right hand and wrist.
Broke a bone in that wrist, and he is through for the season, including postseason play. To the top of the 8th. And Kurt Stillwell is hitting for Jeff Treadway. One infielder trading for another here. And a foul off to the right. Quickly, it's 0-2. Lefferts on the mound, the 3rd San Francisco pitcher. 5 1/3 innings for Mike Lacoste. 1 inning for Kelly Downs, and Lefferts came on to throw a 4-6-3 double play ball to end the Reds' rally in the 7th. They've been unable to score, Cincinnati, since the first swing of the game.
Kurt Stillwell, as he started the season as a shortstop, he was fighting Barry Larkin for the job. But when Oster went down with an injury, he moved over to second base. But since Treadway has been up, he has been starting. Stillwell and Dave Concepcion were platooning at second base.
Now it's 3-2.
There's Joel Youngblood in the Giant dugout, and even though he's smiling, I know it's got to be eating him up inside, because now he knows he will not be able to play in any playoffs or World Series if the Giants are fortunate enough to get there.
First walk issued by Lefferts. A cast and a bandage. And as quickly as Lefferts walks Stillwell with Eric Davis, the next hitter, Roger Craig to the mound. And a right-hander to be called in, Don Robinson for the Giants.
And Don Robinson has taken over as the stopper for the Giants since Scotty Garrelts has gone down with a broken finger in his pitching hand.
So a pitching change here in the top of the 8th. San Francisco holding on to a 3-run lead. And Roger Craig utilizing that bullpen.
Very unhappy about not being able to complete the job he started. He took over for Kelly Downs, and he wanted to try to end the ball game for the Giants, but he's not able to, and Don Robinson will have to finish it.
Don Robinson's been a big addition to this ball club, and he's been a guy that other clubs in the race were interested in, weren't they?
Yeah, I think that's very interesting in that the Cincinnati Reds wanted Don Robinson. The Giants ended up with him. Cincinnati went after Rick Russell. The Giants have ended up with him. Cincinnati went to San Diego to try to get a pitcher. The Giants got Dave Dravecky from there. Something's wrong someplace.
Fastball inside from Robinson, who in his last 14 ball games has been outstanding. Eric Davis, meanwhile, today is 0 for 3. Pop fly to short right center last time was caught by the second baseman Thompson, so basically Eric hasn't left the infield with a swing today. Has this time just onto the outfield grass. Easy for Uribe. And the Giants pitching staff has really handled Eric Davis today.
And one of the things I guess we should mention here is that, you know, we're talking about injuries. The wear and tear on a guy like Eric Davis over the whole season. Diving. He's hit about 5 walls. He's made a lot of diving catches. He's playing with a bad ankle. He's playing with a bad wrist. He's playing with a bad shoulder. But the key is he's still playing. He wants to be in there in this race. But this is not the Eric Davis we saw earlier in the season, and a lot of it has to do with the wear and tear that you go through when you do everything on a baseball field. If you're just a hitter, you don't have those problems. If you're just a defensive player, you don't have those problems. But being a complete player as he is, stealing bases, running the bases, he gets a lot of wear and tear on the body.
And he recently missed 8 ball games after hitting the wall in Chicago pretty hard.
And that wall definitely will not move. It's been there for almost 80 years.
Yeah, the ivy doesn't do you much good out there.
No.
Parker with a walk and a single in 3 trips. 1 on, 1 out in the 8th. And it's fouled back upstairs to the left. Well, they have another great crowd here at Candlestick Park this afternoon. Nearly 50,000 in the seats. 49,939 total. Nearly 45,000 paid. The Giants now are nearing $1.7 million on the year. They already have their 3rd highest season total since coming west.
But the Giants continue to point out, if they had a different ballpark with a team that's been as exciting as the 1987 Reds, Giants have been, they would have drawn over 2 million.
Breaking ball missing outside. It's 1-1 to Big Dave Parker. Parker, despite his less than spectacular second half, still with pretty impressive numbers. The RBI totals up in the mid-90s. This team has really gone through some strange hitting spells this year. Outside 2-1. They went for a couple of weeks period, Joe, and it seemed like if the pitching staff gave up more than a run or two, they would get beaten every night.
Right, and I think that's been their problem. They have had some great hitting days and then some poor hitting days, and they have not been consistent the second half. You can blame it all on pitching if you want, but part of the Reds' problem has been the inconsistency of the hitters.
Parker with a high drive to left center. To the wall goes Milner, who just has enough room. That ball was hit about 380 feet. But a long second out in this 8th inning.
And to show you the difference in this ballpark, if he hits that ball before 345, it's a home run. I guarantee you, because he hit that ball very well. But now the wind starts to kick up, and you can't tell by the flag. The wind swirls out there, and it comes across from left center field.
Well, you could see Milner get there and then actually come forward a couple of steps to make the catch. So Parker made a bid to make it a 4-3 game. And now Buddy Bell, 1 for 3, singling on a hit and run his last time up, is at the plate. Stillwell still at first now with 2 down. He walked to lead off the inning. The Reds just have not cashed any opportunities here this afternoon.
And I think that's the sign of a good pitching staff. You get in trouble, but you make the pitches that are necessary to get out of jams. And as they say, I could pitch if no one ever got on base. The test of a pitcher is how he responds when he gets in trouble. And the Giants have done very well today.
Yep, they've given up 9 hits, walked 4, but the Reds have only scored 1 run and only left 5 runners. So obviously they've lost some runners on the bases because of double play grounders, swinging strike 3 double plays with runners trying to move up.
The Giants came into the game with 166 double plays, which leads the league, and they've had 3 today to stay out of jams, as you mentioned. So that's the way that they play defense. If the guys get on base, they make a double play or make the right pitch at the right time, and that's why they're in first place. That's why they have the lowest earned run average in the league.
On 0-2, Buddy Bell flares one down the right field line. On the line and into the seats for a ground rule double. And for the second straight inning, the Reds will get that tying run up to the plate. They did it in the 7th. A double play took care of them, and now it'll be Nick Osaski, the tying run at the plate.
And I think the Giants would not like this matchup normally. I think the Reds do like it in that Nick Osaski is a free swinger, pretty good fastball hitter, and Don Robinson will challenge him. And that's Bob Lillis. He's the coach moving people around. He's setting the defense. Now he tells Will Clark to get closer to the line at first.
And Osaski with a high fly ball to left. But there is Chili Davis actually coming forward as the wind knocks it down. And the inning is over. The Reds get a walk and a hit. They lead 2. They've stranded 7. The ball game is now in the middle of the 8th inning. Will Clark will lead off for the Giants in the 8th. San Francisco still on top by 3. Season and pennant fever hotter than ever. The showdown in the AL East continues when the Tigers slug it out for first place with Toronto. Others will see the Cardinals try to hang on in the National League East against the Cubs. It begins with Major League Baseball. An inside look with Marv Albert at 2 p.m. Eastern next Saturday. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting on NBC Sports.
39. The Giants and Reds. Thank you.
Bob, I think the toughest thing a manager ever has to do is what Pete Rose is going to have to do shortly and what Hal Lanier has had to do in Houston. When a team fights so hard in a pennant race for so long and you get down where you have 10 or 12 games left and you're virtually out of a pennant race, to keep your team motivated every day and keep them fighting and keep them playing hard, because no matter the fact that they're going to lose today's ball game, if they lose, they fall 9 games behind. It's really not over. And I go back to what Yogi Berra says, it's never over till it's over. I mean, it sounds like it's a cliche, but it's the truth, because the Phillies had a 7-game lead with 9 games to go, and they lost. So I think you have to try to keep your team motivated, but it's a very tough thing to do when you fought so long and so hard.
Bottom of the 8th, Will Clark leading off. Clark 0 for 3 today. Retired last time up on a good running catch by Eric Davis. Reds have a defensive change at second base. Treadway was pinch hit for last inning by Kurt Stillwell, who stays in defensively. Reds have out-hit the Giants 10-8, but trail by 3. 2 balls and a strike as Clark takes a breaking ball down low. And a drive to left. Looking back, it is gone. Daniels could only go to the wall. He watched this one leave, and it's 5-1.
That's becoming commonplace here to call the players back out for an ovation.
Well, the Mets curtain called their way to the World Championship. Maybe it's the Giants' turn. And now the count quickly 2-0 on Bob Brenly, who hits for the first time today. Came in defensively to catch in the 7th.
And the difference between the ball that Will Clark hit for the home run and the balls that Parker and those guys hit, where the thirds were high fly balls that normally would go out. Will Clark was a line drive, and the wind did not get a chance to have a big effect on it.
Well, we talked earlier about Will Clark's nice stroke, and when you see a guy hit a ball like that to the opposite field, you know that the fundamental things have to be correct for him to be able to take a pitch like that out of here in such a hurry. 3-1 now the count on Brenly. Count goes full. In a big game here on Thursday, Bob Brenly had a big hit. Drove in a couple of runs to back Rick Reuschel's route-going performance. And that's ball 4. Second walk issued by Joe Landrum. And you'll hear quite an ovation for the next hitter who homered his last time up to bust this game open. Jose Uribe. Jose now has 3 homers from the right side, 2 from the left. Runners moving. The hit and run was on a rather defensive swing on a pitch away, and he managed to foul it off.
Well, that's Roger Craig's style of baseball. If you get on top, try to put him away, but you try to do it getting 1 run at a time. He just tries to add 1 run. And I guess that would be the philosophy of a former pitcher. He was a pitcher, and he figures that his pitchers can hold a lead, but he tries to get them 1 at a time. Most offensive-minded managers try to blow the game open. They try to score 4 or 5 just to put the game completely out of reach. It's all a matter of philosophy. Both, I think, are correct. It's just a matter of what you think is best at that particular time.
Little liner to the shortstop. No problem for Larkin. And Brenly getting back in easily. So Jose is 2 for 4 on the day. And we'll see Don Robinson hit here.
And he is a good hitter.
Don Robinson.
And due up in the 9th are the bottom 3 hitters in the Cincinnati batting order.
The Giants have a couple of pitchers that are excellent hitters, Don Robinson and Rick Russell. They've both been used as pinch hitters on occasion.
Landrum missed with the first one. Runner moving, swing and a miss. The throw from Diaz in plenty of time with the tag Larkin.
And as you see, he'll put the hit and run on with pitchers, with anyone.
You could really see Bo Diaz relax and just make sure he got that ball on the bag. He knew he had plenty of time. That's the second out of the inning. The count is 1-1 to Robinson.
What you mentioned about Diaz is interesting because as a catcher, you can feel how good a jump a runner actually has from first base.
Robinson hitting the ball well. Nice play to his left by Larkin, and the inning is over quickly. It started, though, with a Will Clark home run. So the Reds have still out-hit the Giants 10-9, but on to the 9th we go with San Francisco leading 5-1. Well, the Pope was here yesterday, but some Giants fans have donned the big hat here today. Well, they've had a lot of reason to cheer. It's been another good afternoon here at Candlestick Park for the home team. They're about to win their 7th in a row here and 24th in the last 29 starts in their own ballpark.
And truthfully, it's been a typical Giant-like performance, I think. The Giants have gotten good pitching, have got good pitching from their starting pitchers. The relief pitchers have done well, and their hitters have done well. The hitters have come through with 2-strike, 2-out base hits, and they've hit a couple of home runs. So I think the Giants have done a very good job in showing you why they are in first place in the National League West. And by the same token, I think the Reds have shown you why they have fallen from the top in the National League West. They have made some mistakes in the field. They have not hit with men in scoring position. They've hit in the double plays. They've just made a lot of mistakes offensively, and therefore they've only ended up with the 1 run so far. That Cal Daniels supplied on the first hit of the ballgame.
Pete Rose and company in the visitors' dugout. Our executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Wiseman. Harry Coyle is our coordinating producer of NBC's baseball. Today's game here in San Francisco, produced by Kenneth Roy Edmondson and directed by Andy Rosenberg. And our pregame was produced by Steve Dance. Bob Carpenter with Joe Morgan. At the plate for the first time today is Bo Diaz. Young Terry McGriff started the game for Cincinnati. Diaz, a .270 hitter, 15 home runs, 81 RBIs. Larkin, the next man, then the number 9 slot. And it's a ball and a strike. With the win, the Giants would lead the Reds by 9 and Houston by 10.5. Astros are home tonight behind Nolan Ryan to take on Ed Whitson and the Padres. But does it matter? That's what people out here are saying. They think they've got it wrapped.
Well, I really think it's just a matter of time, because the Giants, if they're able to hold on today and take it to 9 games with 14 to go, I think it's going to be awfully tough for anyone to be able to catch them.
1 ball and 2 strikes as Robinson works to Diaz. And a breaking ball. 1 down.
I think one of the things that happened to the Reds as well has been the fact that Bo Diaz, who was playing so well before the All-Star break, I think, you know, maybe has caught a few too many ball games, and it starts to wear you down. And the toughest positions to get production from in September is a catching spot.
First pitch swinging. Barry Larkin pops it up. Short right field, and out to get it is Robbie Thompson. Well, this week's NBC Miller Lite player of the game is Jose Uribe with a big 2-run homer in the 6th inning that broke this game wide open. Miller Lite is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Jose Uribe to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
And that's a good job by Jose. He's also played well in the field.
Paul O'Neill is the pinch hitter. He's first pitch swinging with Robinson around the plate and fouls it off to the left. A little bit outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 14 games after this one.
The 3 guys that Al Rosen acquired for the Giants in September have won 15 games between them and have about 6 or 7 saves. So that shows you the contributions that Rick Russell, Dave Dravecky, and Don Robinson have made to the Giants down the stretch.
Now it's 1 and 2 as they're on their feet at Candlestick Park. And a breaking ball, low and away, 2 and 2.
And Don Robinson's going to stretch it all the way out for you.
The Reds have got to have runners. Cal Daniels on deck, bases empty, 2 outs. And they get the walk. First pass issued by Robinson, who came on with 1 on, nobody out in the 8th. He's after his 18th save of the year. In the 7th inning and the 8th inning, the Reds had the tying run in the batter's box. They're 1 runner short of that, but a guy who could cut into that 4-1 lead in a 5-1 lead in a hurry. Coming in now, Cal Daniels. That was John Perlman you just saw a moment ago, stretching in the San Francisco bullpen.
Bob, one of the things that Pete Rose and the Reds organization will have to do over the winter, I think, is give up some of this young talent they have. They have a lot of young players who are going to be good major league players. but they will have to acquire some more starting pitching before the season starts next year to have a chance.
0-1 the count, and it's down low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, you hate to give up a Stillwell or Cal Daniels. I don't think he's going anyplace. But some of your young players, you'd hate to trade them, but you'd hate to finish second or third again like they have done this year.
And now Robinson within 1 pitch again. As the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. They sat down for a while, but now they're back on their feet, trying to get Robinson to get that 7th straight win. And the count goes even at 2-2 on an errant breaking ball. Joe Price, a former Red, has also joined Perlman throwing in the San Francisco bullpen.
It's interesting with Robinson, he gets ahead of the last 2 hitters with fastballs, and then he tries to throw the breaking ball to finish it, and he hasn't been able to do that.
Right off the end of the bat, it got part of Brenly on their way back. Cal Daniels just did stay alive.
If the Giants are able to hold on today, they will have beaten the Reds 7 of the last times they've met out of 8. You see, he gets just a piece of it, and he gets a piece of Bob Brenly.
This would be their 3rd straight over Cincinnati, 32 at Riverfront last weekend. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A little chopper to Thompson, and the Giants have done it again. A walk and 1 runner left. Cincinnati stranded 8, and San Francisco wins it by a score of 5-1 with the only Cincinnati run, a game-leading off homer by Cal Daniels. We'll wrap it up for you in just a moment from Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where the playoffs are just another step closer after a 5-1 win here this afternoon. Week has been brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered draft beer, it's as real as it gets. By Toyota, looking out for you has made Toyota #1 in compact truck sales. By Armor All, it's the finishing touch every time you wash your car. And by Pennzoil Motor Oil, quality protection. Ask for it. And don't forget, tomorrow, week 2 of NFL football. The day begins with NFL Live, followed by Denver, Green Bay, or Kansas City at Seattle. Check your local listings. And, Joe, the Giants just keep on rolling.
Well, this is the way they've done it the second half here at Candlestick Park. They did not play well at home early in the season. They're playing well now.
All right, that's Joe Morgan. I'm Bob Carpenter. Thanks for joining us at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The Giants over the Reds, 3 in a row now, 5-1.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines. You're not just flying, you're flying the friendly skies.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television.